Hey y'all, come on in, come on in. Let's get this content out to the people. Apologize for the delay. Your girl was caught up in the rain as well as there's a thunderstorm going on right now, and then there was a protest, you guys. So uh, I got caught up in the protest. There's a lot of traffic out there, and I was having dinner with the Enterprise. So shout out to the Enterprise. I was having a great dinner. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Let me get situated so I can go ahead and get this information to y'all. Grab my notebooks. Got a lot going on, y'all. Got a lot going on, man. It's getting realer and realer every day in this courtroom. Make sure I don't forget my notebook tomorrow. So I ended up having to go purchase a new notebook just for today because I was not coming back to the room to get the notes, okay? So let me put this stuff away to the side. And let's get into some stuff. We're gonna finish Diana Copeland. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna do Diana Copeland. And we're going to do I hope y'all got the time because you know I'm bringing it. So many things that are not supposed to be. Yeah. Except you and so many things. So many things that are not supposed to be. Baby. So John Doe number 2, I told y'all he testified. Okay. They calling him Alex. And Lizette Mayweather is the last to testify. But she's still on the direct right now. And then anyway, okay, you guys, let's get into some content. Hey everybody, thank y'all for coming over to my channel. You know, I want to get this information to y'all tonight. So y'all ain't got to wait for tomorrow to get all of this tomorrow at the lunchtime breakdown because I'll bring you guys the rest of Diana testimony at lunchtime tomorrow. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. As far as my updates, make sure you guys are following my community tab because I know you guys are looking for a lunchtime special. But if you looked at my community tab, you guys would know that I said court was starting late today. It started between 11:30 and 12, and it actually started a little bit after 12 o'clock. So it didn't start on time today. So I couldn't expect for you guys to, get it on time. But anyway, with that being said, let me give y'all a scoop. Hold on. I don't want this music playing. That was an accident. I'm trying to take off my jewelry. You know, I got a strip when I come up in this thing. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so on testimony Friday when we went on the weekend break, and then as we came back today, the cross on the direct from the prosecutor, they reiterated some of the questions that they asked to her, which was on Friday at the end of the day, you spoke about fines, amount of the fines. Okay, they wanted to know what were some of the were the fines the same, and then she said no, the fines were not the same, they were different. Excuse me. And then they went on to say, well, at any other time, did you not receive any payment from R. Kelly? And then she said that was correct. And then asked her, did she recall those times that she did not receive payments from Mr. Kelly? And then she said she couldn't really recall. She said somewhere, she didn't. She said she do not recall basically the times where she didn't receive the payments. And then they moved on to asking her about when did she purchase her computer, and she said 2018 of January. Then they asked her, well, what kind did you purchase? She said a Mac Pro Air. And then they said, well, what did you use it for? And she said she used it just to take notes in meetings for Mr. Kelly. And then they went on to ask her, well, what happened to the computer, and then she said her computer had went missing. They said, well, when did you last see it? And then she said it was last seen in April of 2018. And then they said, well, when it went missing, who was present? She said there were people present, and herself as well as Robert. Okay. And then they went on to say, well, did you have a conversation with Mr. Kelly about, your missing computer? She said, I did. They said, well, where did you, what day did you have this conversation? She said the same day that her computer went missing. Then they said, well, how did Mr. Kelly respond? She said, well, he looked at, he really didn't respond because he just looked and he didn't really know what was happening. And so then they said, okay, so what steps, if any, did Robert take, about your computer? She said he didn't take any. And then they said, well, did he ask you, did he ask about any of the missing, did he ask you about, your missing computer? She was like, no. He was like, well, did you ever receive your computer back? And she said, no, I did not. They said, well, did you look for it? And she said she did. And they asked her how. She said, well, she got another computer and she started searching for it from Find My Computer. Then they went on to say, well, when did you do that? And she said she did that the same day her computer was missing. And then they asked her, did it show where her computer was? She said, yeah, it was still in the studio. And then they wanted to say, well, did you learn anything about it being in use? And then there was an objection, and then there was an overrule by the judge. And then she said, I did. Then they asked her about how did she notice that her computer was being in use? And she said there was an app that sent her a notification on the Apple device, and it sent her a notification, okay, that the computer was in use. Then they asked her, when did you realize that your computer was in use? And she said a couple of months later is when she got that notification, okay. And then they asked her, what did she do, if any? And she said, well, she sent the notice to R. Kelly's then manager, which was James Mason. Said, well, when you received the notice, did you leave it? I mean, when you received the notice, what had happened? And then she basically went on to say, well, nothing. She did nothing. I don't believe the second time when you contacted the manager, James Mason, and then asked her, well, who is James Mason? She said that is Robert's manager. And then they wanted to know when. She said from April 2018. Then she said, they asked her, is that the same computer that went missing? They showed her an exhibit and asked her, was that the same computer that was missing? She said, yes. They said, what was the reason? She said that she left working for Mr. Kelly. And she said, well, there was lots of reasons. They just wasn't seeing eye to eye. She felt like things was being handled different when she just felt like things was being done different because he had, new people around her. And then they asked her if she told this to anyone. She said, yes. She said this to herself and to R. Kelly. And then asked her when she last time she saw R. Kelly. She said it was probably in 2019. Then they went on to say, well, do you recall when? And she said, I can't really recall. And then they asked her where. And then where did she see R. Kelly last at? And she said she saw him at a park. They asked her where. She said the Water Tower in Chicago. Then they went on to say, well, what happened, when you got to the park? What happened? And then she said, well, I showed up. He said, don't you... He basically he made a joke with her, and then they went on to and then he invited her over to the Trump Tower. And when she got to the Trump Tower, it was herself, Jane, which is aka Azriel for y'all that don't know who Jane is, and herself. Then they said, well, what happened then when she got to the Trump Tower? When she arrived at the Trump Tower, Jane gave her a robe and told her to put it on. And she asked, why Jane asked Diana, was she wired? And then they said, well, what did you think that meant? And she said, well, if I had some type of wire on. And then so they went on to say, well, had you met with law enforcement at that time when you met up with them? And then she said, no, she did not. And then they said, well, how did you respond? She said, I was shocked. And I said, no. And then they asked her, what did she proceed to do next? She said, I took off my sweatpants, my shirt, and I just put on the robe. Okay. Then said, well, who did you understand wanted you to do this? And she said, Rob. And then she said, well, for what reason? She said, to make sure I was not wired. Now, did you have on a wire? And she said, absolutely not. Okay. And then they went on to say, well, um, did you interact with R. Kelly? And then she said, I mean, did you interact with R. Kelly? And she said, yeah, he was very upset about what was happening in the media, because all these rumors were going around about him. And so he was very upset. And then they asked her, well, what happened next? She said, well, he asked him a letter saying something truthful about him. And then they asked her where, and she said she did it in a notebook. And then they gave her an exhibit 301, which the judge asked, so do you, to Canick, do you have any objections? And he said none. Then they went on to say, well, do you recognize this? And she said yes. He said, well, what is it? She said, it's my handwriting and the letter. Now, then they went on to say, well, you first met with Kells and he asked you to write letter to be truth. Was everything you wrote in the letter truthful? She said, well, no. And then he said, okay, so he what was in the letter? She said he was wait. He was very verbally, mentally abusive to anyone. Was that accurate when you wrote that? And she said, it should not have said never. It should have said, I never seen him verbally abuse one. And then they went on to say, well, have you ever been abused over him? I mean, abused by R. Kelly? And she was like, over a fine. And they said, well, what happened? Well, he would get heated. He could curse. He could yell. You know, what would you do? She said, sometimes I would cry. And then they said, okay, well, did you continue to work for R. Kelly after you went through all these different disputes? And she said, yeah, sometimes I would leave. Sometimes I would even quit my job. And they said, okay, well, would he raise his voice? And she said, correct. Said, so you testified you wrote this letter, Exhibit 301. Now, is that the only time you wrote a letter? No. When he asked you before, when did he ever ask you to write a letter before? She said, years ago. Then they asked about other staff writing letters to make sure no one would go against R. Kelly. And then she said, why? She said, because his attorney told him that he should get letters from people. Okay. Now, what did you write? She said she wrote something saying that she stole something. Now, have you ever stole something from Mr. Kelly? She said no. And then it went on to Exhibit 3532A. And then they asked her if she recognized. She said yes. They said, well, what is this? She said at the top, who? She said yes. And then they said, so at the top, who signed this? And she said, that's my signature. And then they said, is this the? And then she wrote in the letter, this is the hardest thing I ever had to write. I have stolen money. It took me 2.5. It took me 2 years. I'm thankful you're forgiving. You're a forgiving person. I will never, ever betray you again. Here is, in my heart, I know I took things from you. I stole money. If I would have just asked you, I know you would have given it to me. It's the very hard thing I ever had to do, holding on to this for 2 years. Let me see. It felt like she said, I love you. And then they asked her, is that your signature? She said, yes. And that's not the whole letter verbatim or word from word. It was just as much as I was able to get. And I just want to throw that in there because I know the transcript is going to come out and you will hear everything that I am saying in what I'm reading to you all. Okay. And we're going to discuss the transcripts as well, because it's a lot of stuff on social media going around about these transcripts and the dollar amount for these transcripts and how much these transcripts are actually costing. And I just don't want people to be hoodwinked and bamboozled. I've always been honest with you guys and very upfront with each and every one of you guys. And I think it's only right that I do the right thing and explain to you guys about the price of the transcript. They are actually 10 cents a page. So if you're hearing that they cost anything more than 10 cents, you can look them up yourself. You can actually call down to the federal courthouse and question how much it costs. You can reach out to Pacer. Just do your diligence, you guys. Don't be stupid out here in these YouTube streets, because everybody is trying to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody is not really here for the right reasons. A lot of people is here because they see other people getting some type of recognition and they feeling left out. And it's a lot of hate and jealousy and envious. So I just want you guys to just be aware when you donate in your money that you're donated to the right place for the right cause and not to the wrong place for the wrong reasons. Okay. And I just have to put that out there. It ain't no shade or nothing, but the pages cost 10 cents a page. So if anybody is saying it costs 10 and 11 times more than what it costs, that's ridiculous. And something should be done about that. So I just want to just be honest with you guys. No, it does not cost that much. You do the math. Get you guys a Pacers account. You don't have to purchase it, but you can go on there and look exactly how much these pages are and how much these pages cost. So you do 10 cents time, however much the pages are. That's what it is. People got all these different fictional reasons about why they cost this and why they cost that. I'm sorry to be the bearer of the bad news, but I know God always uses me for the good, while other people want to make it look like I'm such a bad person. But in all actuality, them pages cost 10 cents. Okay. That's just the bottom line. I discussed it on more than one occasion. Investigations will be done, and it is what it is, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So let's get back into this content, but I just had to put that out there as I'm reading this and stuff. And it's just ridiculous how people will have to multiply stuff to get more money just to be able to be here in the midst of the moment, because they're probably financially unable. And it's just the scams that you guys got to really be out watching out for. I've always looked out for you guys since the very beginning. Whenever I felt there was a scam going on, I always told you guys there was a scam going on. So again, I just want to make sure I'm bringing it to y'all attention, bring it to y'all awareness. So just be on alert for scammers and scams that are going on around R. Kelly's name while his name is still hot on the press. Everybody just wants in on this situation. And yes, I'm extremely tired, but I'm going to stay up with you guys tonight to bring always the truth to you guys. I don't have to fake kick it. I don't got to lie to kick it. I ain't got to manipulate nobody to get some money out of nobody. When I need something, I ask for it. If I don't need nothing, I don't ask for it. I don't do all that begging and all that extra stuff. That's for bums and broke niggas or broke females or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to keep it real. I don't care for people liking me because I'm selectively chosen anyway. So with that being said, let's continue on with this commentary that I'm bringing to you guys straight up out the courtroom. I ain't got to hate on nobody. I ain't got to dim nobody lights to shine. I am who I am. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. Either you like it, you hate it, or you love it. Either way it go, it ain't going to stop me from doing what I do and bringing this information to everybody, to the ones that's true. So shout out to everybody up in the chat. Shout out to the real ones, and just be on the lookout for people scamming y'all, trying to get some pennies on the dollar. And that's a lot of money to be asking for transcripts, when in actuality they only 10 cents a page. 10 cents a page, not $2, not $1.50, 10 cents. Okay. Now, with that being said, as I was continuing to read the direct exam from Diana Copeland from the prosecutor, and it goes as follow. Okay. So now it says she wrote the letter stating that she stated that she stole from R. Kelly, and they asked her, did you ever steal from R. Kelly? And she said no. Now they showed the witness exhibit 970 and said, do you recognize this? She said, yes, I do. That's what was it? She said that was her. She said that was her phone number. And they said, well, is this the same number that you have today? And she said, yes. They said, is this the same number that you used when you was contacting Mr. Kelly? And she said, okay. And then now they said, nothing further at that point. Okay. There was nothing further. Then it turned it over to Canick. So it's Canick time. Okay. So now he goes on to say, so now you just want to go now. I just want to go over your testimony, okay, a bit here. He says, so in that letter, BCA, you said Rob is a giving and a loving person. Do you feel that to be true? And she said, yes. So when you wrote you stole, what was that? Wasn't that the truth? And she said, yeah. And then he said, okay, so what was the reason for writing the letter? She said there was a dispute. And he said, okay, so I'm going to, and then there was a dispute, and you said that you was going to leave. Is that correct? And she said, yes, that is correct. Then he went on to say, so 2 years coming back, you left and you came back after 2 years. Is that correct? Yes. Now, you never resolved your issue with R. Kelly. Correct? Correct. You never verbally was abused. Correct? And then she said correct. So now you met with the government. Correct? Yes. Several times. Correct? She was like, correct. He said, and you cried when you were sitting with the government. Now, how did he know she was crying? Okay. She was crying when she met with that government. Okay. And then the government, that the way that your answer, the way you answered, the reason that you answered that you got the fine, um and then she said correct. He said, so do you have a basics of why you got the fine? And she said, well, fines, I mean, she said, do you have the basic knowledge of what the fines are for? And then she was like, well, yeah. And he said, so she explained it. She said, so fines are in the industry and I have friends in the industry. He said, so have your friends ever been fined? And she said, that is correct. He said, so you heard about James Brown. And then, of course, the judge wanted to object. And then she was like, sustain, so she couldn't answer it, and kind of stopped him in his tracks. And then he went on to say, so you left your employment with R. Kelly because you wasn't seeing eye to eye with R. Kelly and the staff, correct? And she said, yeah. So you wasn't feeling safe with his new team. Yes, yes. So you left many times. Is that correct? That is correct. And you came back because you felt that he didn't. You felt that he did not have trustworthy people around him. And then that is correct. Now, why did you have that responsibility? She said, well, Robert did not have no control over his bank accounts. He did not have any controls over his bills being paid. And he did not even know where his royalties were going. That was a huge problem. Okay. So, and then she went on to say, well, and then he said, so then, and you found that you had a problem um, with the new management in them. And then she was like, yeah. Okay. So what was your response? She said her responsibilities was to make sure that he had tour bills were paid, his home was running smoothly. You was the go-to person, wasn't you? She said correct. Now, executive assistant, correct? Yeah. Now, what were your executive responsibilities? She said, well, they were to manage the estates in the Olympia field. The kids were there at that time. Did you have any direct contact with his kids and his ex-wife? And she said, yeah. And then her role was, she was like an extension of R. Kelly. Okay, she was an extension of R. Kelly. And she had to make sure that his kids had things to do. They went to the museums or just communicating with the teachers. Okay. Oh, excuse me. And then that was the daily routine. Okay. And then she said it varied every day, but it would be in the studio. R. Kelly would be in the studio from day to night. Okay. And did he have he had one before she was there and while she was working for R. Kelly. Okay. And then they asked her about her work, and then she said, I mean, how long the engineers was working. She said they was working for like 24 hours, pretty much a day. And then they asked about who was there, and then I guess his name was Van or Van. Oh, I hate when I say this man's name wrong. Y'all have to forgive me. But anyway, she went on to say, so she did. The judge interrupted and said the judge said she did not see the relevance of these questions, and then he went on to try to ask questions and said, well, Van. And then of course the judge wanted to object again. He says, and then she went on to answer questions about him playing basketball. Yes. Do you know his basketball schedule? And she said he played ball from around 11 to 12 o'clock at night. And then they said, well, how many hours? And she said, maybe about 3 hours. Did he go back to the studio after? And she said, well, yeah. And then they said, well, was the Was this every day? And then she said, yeah, this was his routine. Did he work with other artists? Yes, he did. He also worked with recording labels. Yes, he did. Did he have time to plan tours, to attend tours? Yes. Did he write for other artists? And then she was like, yeah. And then she said, I think, she said she said, he would write for other artists. And then they asked, what time of the day would R. Kelly actually start his day? She said somewhere between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. That man was up all night long, tired as hell as I am tired right now, giving this information to you guys. I promise you tomorrow's going to be a better day, but I'm just letting y'all know I'm tired, but I'm going to get through this tonight because I want to get all this off my brain so I can have a fresh start tomorrow, okay? So we all can be caught up on what's actually happening in the courtroom, up to the minute coverage from yours truly, Hollywood Next. Now, you had total access to the property. Is that correct? Yes. Which one? In Olympia Field, the Trump, the estates, in Johns Creek, in the house, then they said, well, did he have any locks or anything? She said, no, they did not. Was there any phone in the studios? And then could there be outgoing calls? And then she was like, wait, they said, have you ever heard of that? And then, no, okay, wait a minute. This is cross-examination. This is Canick time, okay? Canick is asking the witness, Diana Copeland, were there locks on any of these doors? And she said, no. He said, did they not have any phones in the studios where you couldn't just only call certain numbers? And she said, no. Okay, they have not. And then he went on to say, well, did you have any other responsibility? And then she said, yes. He said, so what levels? And then she said, well, there was record labels, guests that would come over. There were Whitney Houston was a guest, and she said, God rest her soul, is what she said. And she said, and then there was people who played basketball, and then there was other guests as well as female friends. And then she said her responsibilities was to make sure they were comfortable. And then he said, so you mentioned the record labels, or and did the record labels, people who would come over, did they bring guests with them or an entourage? And she said yes. And then he said, did they bring like other people with them? And she was like, yeah. He said, well, did they bring entourage? And she said yeah. And then he went on to say, well, did he provide did the rules apply? And then she said yes. So you couldn't roam around the home. You couldn't you should knock if you came out of one room to another. Is that correct? And she said yeah. Now, it was his wife it was Andrea who was the one who put these rules in place. Andrea is the person who put these rules in place, you guys. It was Andrea, okay? And she said that is correct. Now, these rules stay applied to everyone. Is that correct? That is correct. Not just for yourself or the girlfriends, right? And then she said that was correct, okay? So this was not just rules that he just set for the girls or guests. This was rules for everybody. It didn't matter who you was. His rules was his rules when you came to this man's house, okay? Shout out to Mechanic, because he's really getting a lot of this information out to the people regarding these witnesses and things like that. And I'm not going to throw Diana Copeland under the bus. I'm not going to attack her. I'm not going to insult that woman's character. And the reason being is because as I continue to read these notes, you're going to hear where Canick is going with this. And again, this is my personal opinion. He is basically hinting at the fact that the government is coercing these alleged witnesses and enticing them, coaching them, and preparing them for what they need to be saying once they get up on the stands. Okay. Okay, I didn't see it, but I will take a look, definitely. Okay, and so I got your text message. I'll check it out when I'm done. I definitely will. Um and then so that's pretty much what I'm gathering from being inside the courtroom personally, is that they are intimidating these witnesses, they're bullying them, they're scaring them, and that's why these witnesses are lawyering up, because it's like, why are you getting a lawyer? They're getting a lawyer because the feds and the Homeland Security allegedly is intimidating these witnesses to get out here and say certain things that they want them to say, using the language that they're choosing for them to use. And let me continue to read this so I can continue to bring you guys this great information and this breakdown away. You ain't gonna get it from nowhere else. So all these competitors that's out here competing and breaking themselves to be here, to, you know what I'm saying, they need to just stop it and just sit back and chill and go on and congratulate where congratulations are to be made, instead of trying to get in the fight. You don't even know what's going on or who is who and all this. People is crazy. But that's my personal opinion. I ain't trying to get caught up in the rapture, but I am gonna speak my mind, because y'all know that's what I do, and it is what it is. I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, I'm fucking conceited. You know why? Because I can be. Fuck that shit. I don't give no fucks tonight. So anyway, so when you met, you couldn't just roam, and then she said no, and then he said, so did you walk? Wait, where are we at? When you met Faith, now we're talking about Faith Rogers, okay? When you met Faith Rogers, she couldn't just roam around. No, did you walk her to the restroom? And she said yes. Now, did you want, were you allowed to go and get, okay, no, I take that back. Scratch that, y'all. Scratch that. Now, this is him asking about the government. When you met with the government, okay, you couldn't just roam around the government's office. And she said no. He said, did you ask to go to the restroom? Or could you just go to the restroom? And then she said no. He said, so you couldn't just walk, you wasn't allowed to go get lunch. And she said, and then they went on to say, so Kel's and his live-in girlfriends, they were there for a substantial amount of time. Some lived there, correct? 3, 4, 5. And then they said, okay, so she came and she went. So they gave an exhibit and said, so this person, she came and she went. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Now, Anna, aka is Haley Calhoun. Okay, is she Anna is one who came and left, correct? Yes. She also had her own apartment, correct? Yes. Robert paid for that apartment. She said she was not sure. Okay, but she did have her own apartment, correct? Yes, she did. Now, Juice stayed long. Yes, yes. She had a car and a job. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Now, Dominique stayed and she left, right? Yes, that is correct. Sarah, do you remember Sarah? She said, I remember her. Now, she never stayed there, did she? No, she did not. She stayed at a hotel and she came and left as she pleased. That is correct. Now, talking about the girlfriends and the responsibilities, Mr. Kelly, he splurged, didn't he? Yes, he did. He did high-end stores. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. He did cosmetic procedures. Yes, he did. Lavish lifestyles. Yes, he did. Parties. Yes. Getaways. Yes. House in the hills. Yes. Exotic pets. Yes. Okay. Extra um extra parties, yes. Trips abroad, yes. He afforded them a lavish lifestyle, didn't he? That is correct. Now, what did he have these women call them? Daddy. Now, I object. And they said, sustain. And he said, and then the judge said, I'm going to sustain the next question too, because whatever he was about to say, she just felt like she wanted to sustain it. Before he even asked the question, the judge sustained the next question. Now, how is the judge sustaining something before he can get his question out? He has the right to question his to cross-examine the witness. So I'm not understanding the judge's position into why is she sustaining a question before he even asked the question. That was like the weirdest thing ever, y'all. Now she said, I'm going to sustain that too. And then he said, well, I heard, and then he said, Your Honor, I need a sidebar, because she sustained that question before he can even get the damn question out. So now, while they're on sustain, they come back. He said, so you knew all Mr. Kelly's songs. Objection. And then he said, so do you know the words to Mr. Kelly's songs? In that song, he calls himself Daddy, right? And then she said, she wasn't sure. He said, well, I'll see if I can refreshen your recollection. And then he said, in that song, he does, it doesn't matter. Okay. She said, she's not familiar. That's why. And then this is the judge stopping him. Again, the judge is saying, well, she says she's not familiar. And he said, well, that's why I'm trying to refreshen her recollection. Okay. And then then the judge said, well, she said she don't recall. That to me is a big problem. And I think if something should not go in the favor, there is going to be so many grounds for an appeal, because the facts are this judge is not allowing this case to be heard. She's not allowing his defense to cross-examine the witness. And I have a big issue with that. And I am reporting on the unbiased side. So I just want to throw that out there or whatnot. But she said, I don't recall. Now, if he called himself Daddy, now when he would call into the, and then of course, when he would come into the room, did the girls get up and kiss him? And then she said, yes. When they came in the room, when he came in the room and a female, it wasn't just his girlfriends, right? He stood up for pretty much everybody that would come in. He opened doors, as we all know before. And so that is to be true. Now, as far as the knocking on the doors, that applied to the staff and the girlfriend, and everybody in R. Kelly's home had to knock on doors, and staff as well. Okay. Now, you testified about the tour bus, right? You has now, was the rules the bathroom rules? Okay, talk about the bathroom rules. The door okay, so she said the door was across, the bathroom door was here, and then across from the bathroom door was the microwave, and like something where you could boil water, and it would be hot pots and stuff. And so if you couldn't, if you didn't knock to get out of there, then if the door swung open and somebody was boiling something or was using that area, then they would get potentially burned, is what she said. Okay. And that and those rules did not just apply to the girlfriends. Everybody that was on that bus had to knock coming out that bathroom, just because somebody could have been using that microwave or that hot device where they're boiling water. Okay. So it did not just apply to her. And she confirmed that was to be true. Now, he said, when you guys went on cross-country trips, is that true? And she said, yes. Now, when you was on cross-country trips and there was no bathroom for miles, there was no cell phone connection, you didn't hear, you didn't see a bathroom for miles. Now, were you not aware of the big goat cups? And she said, I know about the big goat cups, but I did not know people were, urinating in them. And then she said, and then they said, well, have you ever rode in a car with Mr. Kelly or a runner? And she said, yes. Now, to explain that, she said, well, they wouldn't get their, like she was not offended when they would have to put down the I want to think it's the visor of the driver. And then she said, when you rode with them, and then she said no, that she didn't, the mirror did not upset her for them to put the blockage up. Okay, so then they went on to say, well, I didn't find it offensive. It was not to have contact with the driver, and she actually liked it, the fact that she didn't have to communicate with the drivers. It was okay for her. Now, you told that you escorted the girlfriends on shopping sprees. You would wear sweats as well. Is that correct? Yes. Why? Why did you do it? She said she did it because it was comfortable. Okay. Now you escorted I want to say this is Faith to the restroom. It would only be at a okay, so no, this is not Faith. I take that back. So you escorted like the girlfriends or even R. Kelly to a restroom, correct? Yes. Now, why? It was only because they were at a new venue. Okay, they was not familiar with the area, and it was her job to find out where the restroom was. Now, you wouldn't find, like, it was you when you went to escort these women. Was it just Kels or him and his guests? And it was Kels. She also escorted Kels and his guests. Now, have you ever stood outside of a stall and she said no? But then they went to ask her, do you know Faith? And she said yes. Now, did you ever escort Faith to the restroom? And she said yes, one time. And the reason being is because this bathroom did not have a stall, and she stood outside the restroom because she stood outside the restroom. And then they said, well, have you ever given her no. So she stood outside that stall restroom because if she was basically there was no stall there, and that's why she did that. So then they said, have you ever given any alcohol to these women? And she said no, with a smiley face. He said, why are you smiling? And she said, asking about some liquor and me giving somebody some liquor because I ain't no drinker. You feel me? And so he said, so you would go shopping with R. Kelly, correct? Yes. You would actually interact with the employees at the shopping center for on R. Kelly's behalf. That is correct. Now, when you would be doing your duties as a personal and executive assistant it was not just for them, but also for him as well. And then she said that was correct. It was to move around, and she moved around basically, and she did her job to the best of her ability. That lady, I'm telling you, this lady was good as hell, y'all. And then she said, okay, so then they asked her, okay, so but none of this was forced, and she said that is correct. Now they had someone named Rodriguez. And then they asked her if she knew that person. She said correct. He said how many hours? And then she said no. Excuse me. She met with Rodriguez, which was the government. Okay. And they asked her, did she meet with them? And she said that was correct. They asked her how many hours did she meet with them? She said for 10 hours. He said for more than 10 hours. Was it more than 10? She said yeah. He said no. He said for 10 hours. She said yes. He said more than 20 hours. She said probably. Then he said, was it more than 30? And she said, I don't think so. And that's when he went on to say, well, they would suggest you to how to answer these questions. And then she said no. He said, well, then they use certain language and verbs to use for you to use. Is that correct? And she said, well, they would use words like R. Kelly directed, and she said that is correct. Or R. Kelly instructed, and she said that was correct. So now Kelly, but Kelly didn't know about that. He never directed or instructed anything of that nature in that language. And then he said that came from the government. And then she said, I don't know. Say it's not like they did suggested if I would if they would say something like or Mr. Kelly's instructed something or Mr. Kelly directed something, then I would repeat it. Okay. So, and then the judge interrupted because, the judge don't like it when he's winning. And so she said, next question, please. Like, move around already, judge. Like, you is so annoying in the courtroom. And again, God don't like ugly. He is just so not fond of pretty, y'all. I swear he really isn't. Now, you testified on direct that R. Kelly would forgive you. Yes, it was. I mean that. Yeah, uh, it was a safety concern. Correct? She said, I believe so. Like you knew that he had given these girls like Uber accounts, and he wanted. And I apologize. Let me scratch that. Scratch that. Scratch that. You testified on direct that R. Kelly would want requests for female drivers, and then she said yes, and it was because it was a safety concern. Is that correct? And she said, I believe so. Now the Uber drivers, uh, give it a try. And then, of course, the judge want to stop that question too, because where he's alluding to is that if if R. Kelly is sending these females out, and we know Uber has had some issues, okay? There could be some potential rapists as drivers. And so R. Kelly wanted female drivers just to protect these girls. It wasn't for the nature of controlling or trying to not have them around males. He was actually trying to look out for these women, is the impression that I'm getting, okay? And that's my personal impression. Now, let's get back to the facts. So the Uber drivers, and then the judge said object, and then because they're known to rape, and then it was objected. And then he said, well, I gave it a try. Okay, he was being funny with the judge at that point. He said, I gave it a shot. Okay, and that was mechanic on that one. And then he went on to say, the hotel and the flights for the girlfriends, R. Kelly paid for them, and and for the executive producers and anyone that was pretty much a guest. And then that was correct. It depends if it's and then they wanted to know about the instructions of the hotel, and she said, well, it depended on the hotel. And then they went on to say, so in the elevator, you talked about Joy. She was looking at the away of the elevator, and then she said, well, I don't know. And he said, well, you had a responsibility. And then she said that was correct. Now you had to make sure that they were secure, that the girls were secure. Yes. Now you made sure R. Kelly was safe. Is that correct? Yes. And then the blinds that was on the tour buses that was down, that was for security reasons as well. Correct. Now, how many securities did R. Kelly have? She said about 3 or 4. Now, to make sure he was safe, right? Now, and there was others for the females. There were securities for the female. And she said, yeah. Now, okay, so then it goes on to saying about who would buy the ticket. I mean, he said so. R. Kelly was a meal ticket. And then they was like, objection. And it said overruled. And then her answer was, yes, he was. Now, he kept the girlfriend safe. And he said, and he had security for the girlfriends, correct? Yes. You testified you were with Anna, aka Haley, and did he need to use any type of force? Was Kels inside where there was no phones, or where he couldn't be reached, like when you guys were in the Sprinter and there was no phones and Kels couldn't be reached? He said no phones, he couldn't be reached. Now you didn't prevent her from using the restroom. Now she said no. Now in fact, you would encourage her. She said, I did. Now, and Mr. Kelly never told me, wait, Mr. Kelly never, he got mad. Actually, Mr. Kelly got mad because I didn't let her go to use it. Also, you testified. And then she said, yeah. Now, at the residence, the hotel, you made when you made reservations for the hotels, you made them in fake names. Yes. That's common. Yes. Objective, overruled. That's correct. You testified Anna was smoking on the property. And then she said she did. And then he said, so do you recall Mr. Kelly and he wasn't pleased. And then she said, yeah. And then him and Anna was basically arguing with one another or angry at each other. And she said, yeah, he didn't take her on the cruise because of that. She said, oh, I didn't know that was the reason why. Well, now didn't take her on the cruise is because she was smoking weed in this house, and he don't allow weed smoking in this house. He don't even want no drugs in the man home. Okay, so why they making him out to be a monster? He didn't even want half this stuff going on. He wanted this stuff away from him. He really didn't want this around him. She said, oh, I didn't know the reason why, and she left. Correct? Yes, there was a part. So you spoke about you and Kelly having the person said that wait that you had okay wait there was a part where you spoke about you and Kelly having a conversation where someone said the person said you let Anna escape. Kels never used the word escape. Correct? She said correct. You was told about R. Kelly repeated the word escape, but he was not the person who said escape. He was just repeating what was said to him. Okay, see how they try to turn it all the way around as if R. Kelly was saying, you let the girl escape, you let the girl escape. He never said that. That was said by someone who relayed the message to him, but he never ever used the terminology that he said. So you worked for Mr. Kelly for 15 years. Have he ever tried to lock a woman inside? I mean, stop a woman from leaving? And she said, no. He said left. The women left many times. You seen Mr. Kelly physically try to stop them? She said never. He said, have you ever suggested? Have you ever saw him suggest to others? And she said never. And he said, well, when they left, did Kels pay for their airfare? She said yes. Mr. Kelly didn't he? Oh wait, Mr. Kelly actually he purchased their I guess he was trying to say hotel ticket, but then the judge was like objection, and then she was like I'm staying, and then sustain. And then he was like, well, has R. Kelly ever tried to stop someone from leaving? And then she said no. He said, have you ever tried to stop someone from leaving, Mr. Kelly? And she said no. He said, you testified you saw a gun by the bar. Now, how close did you get? About 12 inches away, or 12 feet, I want to say, but I think she said 12 inches because that's what I wrote, 12 inches. You didn't, wait. You didn't see. Okay, so you worked for Mr. Kelly for 15 years. Have you ever seen a gun? She said never. Now, do you recall the time of day this was when this alleged gun situation? She said, I believe it was at nighttime. Okay. Now, who was there in this area? And she said the engineer, Rob, and herself. Now, you don't know who was in that bar. She said, I do not. Now, hold on. Okay, so as far as these rules applied, when you and you came back, these rules still apply? Yes. But you still stayed? Yes. But probably was the hold on was in the place you returned when you were working for him. Did you ever did R. Kelly ever ask you to recruit girls for him or women for him? She said no. Now, he had rooftop dinners. Yes, he had rooftop dinners. Now, he telling the judge, I am almost done here, Your Honor. And she says, okay. Now, he wants to talk about the computer being missing. And the information that was on the computer was R. Kelly's. Is that correct? She said, yes. You used it to help with being his assistant and doing your work, your job. She said, correct. Now, the information that was on that computer was R. Kelly's, correct? Yes. Okay. Yes. Now, you was aware you had involvement with a contract. Yes. Royalties, record sales. Yes. This is correct. Okay. So in the 15 years, you ever tried to stop a girlfriend from leaving? She said no. Have you ever saw them locked in a room? She said no. Have he ever asked you or any staff? And she said never, to keep people away or to keep them in. Never. Every day. Wait. Okay, so they talked about the water. He never deprived them of water. They asked about, did you ever ask if you could leave? She said about food. In fact, she said these women had Uber accounts. They had food menus. They had runners. They had personal assistants to get them whatever drinks they needed or shopping. That is correct. And you didn't see anyone and Kels denied them to get drinks or locked in rooms. And she said, never. You did your job to the best of your ability. And she said, yes. And that point, he was done. And then I believe they wanted to, the government wanted to come back and recross her. Hold on, let me just see how much we got left. I am mad at Rob for one thing, and that's surrounding himself with those types of young ladies. They are way beneath him. Dag, Rob. Okay, so that would have been it right there. And then Canic did come back, question her a little bit more. And then there was a witness by the name of Angela. Who is Angela? I'm not done with Diana, but who is Angela? Angela is Gervonta Cunningham. Okay, Gervonta Cunningham came and testified, y'all, and that girl said she had sex with R. Kelly. So just stay tuned. We about to get there. I'm just giving y'all a little sneak preview of what's to come. So okay, so we done with that part of mechanic crossing up Diana, and he said, so you did your job to the best of your ability, and she said, yeah. Oh, excuse me. And then the prosecutors wanted to come back on a direct, and then so they said, so you testified today. Hold on, you testified today that when you would when you was working because you now was in the okay, so yeah, she didn't want to be there, and she was concerned that she was in the media, and she said that's not correct. And they said, well, she started getting. I like her because she started getting the strength to realize that the government was trying to trick her up, and they was trying to play her, and she got smart, and she started supporting for real, for real. So let's just get into what her support was. And hold on, let me clear my face because I don't want to be runny nose up in here. Uh, okay. Oh, I gotta put my phone on the charger. My phone is going dead, y'all. Hold on. I gotta put my phone on the charger. It's getting in here. Hold on. Oh my God. I'm so tired. Like I thought I had more than enough rest. I slept yesterday like a big old baby. I got some gospel in me. I needed it. Was so much needed, you guys. I got a chance to listen to TD Jakes. Oh my God, if you guys haven't heard that man's sermons, I'm gonna need y'all to go and get the sermon in y'all because honey, the man is he was preaching, honey, and teaching to those that are really in need of a word. I wanted to share it with y'all, but I think I was being selfish yesterday. I was keeping him all to myself. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but I pray for y'all though. I did do that much. Okay. Now, okay, so let's talk about they asked her about when she was in the work because she was in the media. She didn't want something because she was in the media. She said, no, that's not correct. They said, okay, so somebody portrayed you. Didn't that affect you? She said, no, that does not. And then they said, are you concerned? She said, no, I'm not. And then she said the letter to claim that you stole, was you the only person who wrote this letter? That's what I was told. And then she said this was a misunderstanding. I don't believe. Did you ever, when you wrote Kels, who told you, you said his attorney told him, she said, you said his attorney told him to write, to have these letters written. She said that is correct. Now, you would dress with, let's see, who was oh my God, I got so much going on. Okay, so Kels never told you how. She said, did Kels ever tell you how to dress? And she said, no, never. And now, then when people was people able to roam around the home, and she said they was not allowed, and she said, but you could, is that correct? And she said that is correct. She was able to roam around the house. She was able to roam around the house because she was an executive assistant who had to do multiple things, you know what I'm saying? But she still abide by the rules by knocking when she needs to knock, going past certain areas. Okay, so then he said, so you asked who asked to put in place these rules? And then she said, was it R. Kelly's wife? And then she said yes. So for the first 2 years. And then she said, did these rules stay in place after the wife left? And she said yeah. Now, you was asked about shopping for R. Kelly. You said you would shop with him. You would interact with the salesman. And did you female ones? And then she said, when shopping for Kels, you would interact with both men and women. At the mall, would be with, okay, so at the mall you would be with the females on here. Is that now, when working for Kels, who was in charge, and what you did day by day? And then she said was, and then she said, he was your boss. Yeah. She said, well, who was your boss? And she said Robert. Like this government was asking the stupidest question. That's her boss. Okay, he hired her. Of course, that's her boss. Now, didn't want to say, so I don't want to put words into your mouth. So when Kels asked you to do something, you were supposed to do it. Yes. I mean, come on. This government is asking the stupidest question. So the government says, so when Kels would ask you to do something, you were supposed to do it. Duh. What was I not supposed to do for my, do what my boss tell me to do? Like, I don't understand these questions. Because he was your boss, you followed through what you were asked, correct? And she's like, yes. Now, for female guests and the staff, did you do what he asked you to do? She said yes. Like, what the hell did he? Lord have mercy. How much more of this? Because I can't take this. We're almost done with this witness, and then we're gonna go on into Javante. Okay. Now, who told you about Anna was smoking weed? She said, I believe it was me. Okay. She said, who told Mr. Kelly? If it was me. I'm telling this witness got to get comfortable, and she got the fixing her crown on her head and she came from and what this man has done for her, and how the government was trying to play on her ignorance and get her to say things that they wanted her to say, like instructing and directing, and knowing damn well that man didn't instruct and direct her to do nothing. As her boss, he may have asked her to do certain things, but everything had a choice. It was nothing she was doing was illegal, and she did so well, even after they crossed her on this part. Now, did you do that? Did you act as an executive when Kels was? Did you act as an extension when Kels was not around? Can you? And then she said, "Can you clarify your question?" And he said, "So, did you view yourself as an extension?" I gotta get something to drink, y'all. I got to go in my mini refrigerator that I have here because I got all my goodies, and I just have to get me something to drink, y'all. This shit is funny as hell, and I can't sit in here without having something to cool me down. Hold on, y'all. I'll make sure this air is on, and I'm gonna need this to cool me all the way. And I want to be freezing I need to freeze for a minute, and then I'll turn it up. Oh my God, this is getting funny. She just like I said, she started feeling like, oh wait a minute, they trying to play me. They trying to play Kels. Hold the back door up. Y'all not about to do this blackmail like this on my watch with my name out here. She worried about her character, her reputation. She worried about the way people gonna talk about her on social media. Po Diana. Like I said, Diana, I ain't gonna do you, baby. As I saw how what you was doing before this was said and done, baby. I saw what you was doing. So in case you want to know what I'm drinking, this is an Izzy's, no alcohol. This is an Izzy, and I gotta drink as much and eat as much as I can before the sun come up because I am on fasting right now, and it's not a game. Okay. Oh my God. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Diana. She wasn't no bad witness, okay? Even though the government had her up in there trying to tell them lies, she told the truth. Now, okay, where was I at? So I think I was over here where he said who told the government was asking her, so who told Rob about Anna was smoking weed? She said, I believe it was me. I'm gonna have to get a little theatrical at this point, y'all, because this shit is getting for real. Okay. Oh my God. Now, did you do that? Did you ask as an when Kels was not around and she said, can you clarify the question? She started getting comfortable up in that motherfucker. They want to get her the hell out of there at this point. Her comfortness is kicking in, y'all. She's starting to realize what the fuck is going on. It's like her process started kicking in. I got a little delay at times too. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes my shit gets on delay. You feel me? Where Debo comment go? Get on delay, y'all. Shout out to the motherfucking enterprise you see in the goddamn building. Shout out to Debo motherfucking guy. My real one, man. Solid as they come in my eyes. Like I said, I'm separate from everybody else. I just see what I see and I fucks with you the long way. You know what it is. Now, okay, so I'm sorry if I don't see everybody in here, but shout out to the Enterprise, shout out to Lady G, shout out to Yellow, shout out to Janet Sexy, shout out to Christy. I don't want to forget nobody because you know I'll be all over the place and I don't really read my chat, y'all. I don't really read the chat, so I want to make sure I just off the top of my head, shout out to Sharon Monet, shout out to her husband M1 investigator, shout out to Keith, shout out to Bobby, shout out to Nicole, shout out to Mechanic aka Kenny, shout out to his partner, shout out to Tom Farinella, shout out to everybody and everybody in my chat. If you're over here, you're in the right place, getting that right content the long way. Because I'm going to give it to you, crossing T's and dotting I's. I ain't missing a beat up in here. I promise you I'm not. So I got the mayonnaise and the mustard, and you bitches better get that ketchup. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. And I ain't throwing no shade, no shots, but shots fired. Anyway, let's finish. Okay, because we still got two more witnesses to get through. We still got Javante. We got Javante. We got John Doe. And after John Doe, we got whoever the fuck the last one is. I can't even think. I'm so damn tired, y'all. Oh, Lizette, the twin, the other twin. The sister came in. The other Mayweather is here, y'all. The other Mayweather is here. Okay, now the champ is here. The champ is here. In R. Kelly's voice. The champ is here. The champ is here. All right. Okay. So she said, "Can you clarify the question?" And then the prosecutor said, "Did you view yourself as an extension when Mr. Kelly was not around?" And she said, "Yes." Now, on cross, you talked about your missing computer. Did Kels ever buy you another one? Like you see where they going with this? They being shady. They trying to be like, did he ever buy you another one? Of course, her answer was no. But my thing is was it really his responsibility? I mean, he could have if he really wanted to. It wasn't like he didn't have the money. Throw it on the table. You know what I mean? Throw it in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Just throw it in the motherfucking bag. Like I just be throwing shit in the bag. Just throw it in the bag. or whatever, if he really wanted to. And I don't think she pushed the issue. But anyway, they was being sarcastic, like, well, did he buy you another computer? No. Did he ever buy you another computer? She was like, no. Well, were you able to hear all of the something? Hold on, about them girlfriends. Hold on, something. Was he something? Uh, something tells you something ain't right. Now, you don't know all of what went on behind closed doors when it came to them girls, right? She was like, that's correct. Now, what did she ask you to do? She was like, she asked me to call R. Kelly. Did you? She said, yes. Did you call? Did you call? She said, yes. And then she said, you were asked about the girlfriends and guests, correct? She said, correct. You were asked about certain events, correct? Correct. Now, what they were afforded, correct? He had many guests and girlfriends. Can you speak for? And then they was like, objection. And she was like, overruled. Can you speak for each girlfriend or guest? And she said, no. I don't know. Am I back? Let me know. Let's do a mic check, sound check, mic check, sound check. And put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Just had a caller call in and it kind of interrupted this live. Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Put a 1. Just put a 1. Is that a 1? Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, they was like, objection. She was like, overruled. Now, can you speak for each girlfriend or guest? And she was like, no. You talked about them as a whole. Is that correct? And then she was like, yeah, not an individual though, right? And then she was like, correct. Okay, so you was asked about reading and writing, correct? Yes. Now, did you communicate through text? And she was like, yeah. Did you receive messages through text? She was like, yes. Did you help Mr. Kelly read? And she was like, yeah. Now, he would talk. They asked her, how did you communicate with R. Kelly through text? She said he would talk to his text. You know, they have the ability where you can hold the button and Siri can just write out your text for you and say what you're saying, and it'll come out. You know what I mean? And if it don't come out properly, then you can just go ahead and resubmit the text. The text. And then this lady, this lady is so sarcastic. So would the drafts be before you would release them when you talk to the text became available? And then she said, were you relieved when the text talk came available? And then she was like, yes. And then the prosecutor said, no further questions. Canning time. Now, Mrs. Copeland, your ability to roam around Mr. Kelly's home, you were CEO of the operation. Is it safe to say you were CEO of the operation? And your job was to manage the home? Even with the ability to roam, you still knocked on the doors, correct? She's like, correct. I'm telling y'all, the impression that I got from Diana, that lady is so sweet. She's so sweet. She's so sweet, y'all. I promise you. If you watching this, Diana, I ain't even gonna shade you. You such a sweetheart, baby. You so sweet. Like, she don't even drink or nothing. And when they asked her, did she give liquor to the girls? She said, I'm the wrong person to ask for some liquor. She don't even drink. That went into the favor of R. Kelly, because she ain't giving out no liquor to nobody, because she don't even drink. So you asking her, governor, government, homeland, whoever, you ask the wrong person. They mad. They want to hurt me. I know that's how she was feeling. Shout out to you, Diane, on this one. I ain't gonna lie. Man. Now, Your job was to manage the home. Even with the ability to roam around Mr. Kelly's home, you still knocked. Is that correct? That is correct. Now, what about the live-in girlfriends and the guests? That was a part of your assistant's position, correct? What was it? Was it your responsibility to keep them safe and comfortable and supply their needs? Yes. Did you wait. You don't know who took did you receive your computer back? She said no. You don't know who took it, do you? She said she said no. And then it said, so you filed a police report on it, didn't you? She said, I did. She's so cute. She almost like a grown-ass baby. You know, when you get old, you turn into a baby all over again, right? You have baby-like tendencies and stuff. So just to keep in mind, each and every one of us, we all got to get old one day. And when you get old, you actually turn into a baby again. Okay, that's why you need assistance, you need help, you need people to change you, get your diapers and so on and so forth, because you turn into a baby. Sometimes you got to get fed. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, she ain't at that stage, but she was so cute. She was so cute. Now, you filed a police report. She said, I did. He said, you was asked about Anna on the bus. You told us when R. Kelly returned, he got on you because she didn't go to the restroom. Is that correct? She said, that's correct. Done with his cross-examination. And they asked the prosecutor, they didn't want no more of her, because they start seeing, they got to realize they wasn't ready for them does. They wasn't ready for them does. Now, here we go to the next one. AKA Javante. He was having sex with R. Kelly. Oh, fucking hotels for many years. They need the narrative, and they needed somebody to spin it for them. So they used this young girl that got $1,500 probably from Lifetime, and that was all she got. The government ain't giving her no check to come in here to say she was fucking on R. Kelly. I don't know what they giving her, but baby, she said she was fucking killed at 14 and 15 and 16 years old. I mean, this shit is crazy. We're going to get all into it. Let me swallow this up right quick. Swallow me. All right. Let's get into this shit. Okay, so they asked a clinical massage therapy. They asked her, she graduated from high school. She said no. She said she got her GED. They asked her when high school in 1991. I said, when did she get her GED? She said she got her GED back in 2008. That's what she employed. She said yes, at a therapist. And then the government, they showed her exhibit 1. Asked if she recognized. She said yes. They said, who is this? She said, that's R. Kelly. Well, she said Robert. And they said, well, do you know his full name? She said, yeah, that's Robert. That's the Kelly. And she said, well, do you know him? She said, yes. Have you ever met him? She said, I have. She said, okay. So then they went on to where did you meet? When did you meet him? And she said 1991. And she said, what grade were you in? And she said she was a freshman and a sophomore. They asked her how old was she? She said 14 or 15 years old. I mean, Lord, I'm telling you, they was trying. See, what they did was, and if you think about it, they put this narrative out there. They put this script out there, and everybody has to follow their lines, okay? And although they put their lines together in this script together, allegedly, these people needed to follow up with it, okay? And in doing so, they weren't ready for Candy, okay? They weren't ready for the mechanic to come in and get some things going. You know what I'm saying? They just wasn't ready for Candy. I'm just telling you, this is how I feel. Now, they talked about her career if she had any career aspiration, and she said she did. She had she was an inspiring singer and a dancer. I want to hear her sing today. Sing us a tune, and don't sing on the dick. Sing on the mic. I mean, sing on the mic. She is a hot mess, y'all. She came in there like she was just the most confident is witness they had. She came in like she could cross her T's and dot her I's, but when Cannon got on her, oh, she turned into an attitude. She got sassy. She was sarcastic. She wanted to like go back and forth with the lawyer. I mean, she was giving attitude. She was giving brain till she passed out. I'm just saying. Girl was doing the most. Now, okay, so then they went in to say, let's see. They asked her some questions about when it was last time. She said back in the mid-90s. She said they said you worked as they actually did R. Kelly hire her. When did she started like seeing dealing with him? She said in the mid-90s, and then they said you worked for Mr. Kelly as a backup dancer, correct? And she said yes. And she said but you also stopped, and she said that was correct. Now, did you still see Mr. Kelly? And she said yes. They said until when? She said until 1998. And then she said she first met him. They asked her when did she first meet him, and then she said at a party, and then they said at his apartment, at his apartment, and they asked her if she could recall the address, which she did, and then they said she said she met him through a friend named Tiffany. We know Tiffany Hawkins. Okay, now how long have you known Tiffany? She said she had met Tiffany, I want to say 2 days before she met R. Kelly. This is some weird stuff going on, y'all. So you meet Tiffany on Monday, and then you met R. Kelly on Wednesday. That's pretty much what had happened, okay? Now, was she in high school? She said yes. They went to separate high schools, but Tiffany went to Kentwood, okay? Now, was that the same year? And then she said yes. Now, what did Tiffany want to be? She said a singer. Now, when she invited you, who was there? And she said his they asked her, hold on, let me go back. They asked her if she remember who or what was he doing at that time? Let me see. And she said he had his first album. His first album that came out, which was Vibe. And she asked her to go with her, and she said, yes, I'll go. And they said, did you go? And then she said yes. And then they said, well, who else? And then she said there was 2 other ladies. And then they said, were they in high school? And she said yes, they both was in high school as well. Now, how long have you known the other people? And then she said she only met them when she met Tiffany. And she said the other day at the house, at the apartment, is when she met the other girls. Now, you and Tiffany was at the apartment with the other girl, with the others there. She said yes, they was. And then they said, so did you know did you know what was this? No, I didn't. Oh, did you know any of them? No, did you know Aaliyah? She said no, I didn't. Did you wait, is this Aaliyah question? Hold on. I don't want to give out the wrong information. Did you learn? Okay, so she said they asked her, did you learn any of the nicknames of other people? And she said yes. Now, do you see this? And she said yes. At the apartment, she said yes. Bruce Kelly, Demetrius Smith, and Larry Hood. Okay, and Kels was there at the apartment. do you know Demetrius Smith's nickname? And she said, yes, we call him Johnny. Mm, 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 mm. And then she asked her, uh, do you recall? And then she said, yes, that who Johnny was. And she said, yes, that's Demetrius Smith. She said, you mentioned that BK, that was another nickname for Bruce Kelly. And then they said, so this government was, his government name was Bruce Kelly. Now, what relationship uh, did he have to R. Kelly? And she said that was his older brother. Now, over the years, was his role, what was his role? She said, well, yes, he was his road manager. Here's an exhibit 92. Do you recognize this? She said, yes. They said, who is this? She said, that is Larry Hood. And then they wanted to know what he did. She said, what was he present? And she said, when you first met him? And she said, yes, he was present when she first got there. That is correct. Now, did you learn of the others' relationship? And then she said, yes. And then they actually describe it. And she said, Larry Hood was R. Kelly's childhood best friend. Okay. Now, did he work? Where did he work at? And then she said, he worked as a Chicago police officer. Now, after Tiff, well, when we arrived at the apartment, we played the mama. We were joking around, and they said who participated. She said everyone did, ma'am. That correct, ma'am. How long did y'all play? She said maybe 1 hour. Um, when that joking occurred in the where was the joking occurred? She said it occurred in the communicable space in the apartment. The communicable space in the apartment. Did Kels go into another room? And she said, yeah. And then what happened next? She said, then everybody else, like all the ladies except for the men, all went in one by one. Now, all the ladies, none of the gentlemen moved. Nope. Now, did you go in? Yes. She said, I don't, they said, well, who invited you in? She said, well, I don't recall if it was Tiffany or Robert. Okay. And then she went on to say, what happened when you got in the room? She said there was 3 other ladies. Well, there was her, Rob, and 3 others. And then what did you see? She said one was standing, one was taking off her shirt, and he asked me to climb on top of him, and I paused there. Okay. And they said, did you? And she said, I did what he asked me to do. And then they said, what happened next? She said, well, what did you do? She said, he asked me to ride him. And I said, do you have a condom? And then wait a minute, how old was you? They asked her, how old was she? She said, I was 15 years old at this time. Now, and I was a sophomore. It was my sophomore year. And then they said, what next? And then she said, well, he said, she asked him if he had a condom. He said he didn't have one. Okay. And then I asked him if I could go get it. And they said, well, did you? She said, she didn't recall, but if she went and got her purse or somebody else brought her purse, but anyway, she put it on them. Now, she put the condom on, and she said she straddled. I hope she said this right. I don't know how she said it, but she said she straddled. She put the condom on and she straddled him, like she rode the dick. Okay, she claimed she rode the dick. Like people would rely on this man and say they fucked him. I don't know if the girl fucked him or not, but I'm just saying it's just crazy, bizarre. Now, who, if anyone else, was in the room? She said Tiffany and the other ladies. Now, did he have sex with them? And she said he had sex with all of us. Now they want to know more. She said, well, one lady's breast he was fondling, one lady's titty he was sucking, and one of the girls he was finger fucking. I'm gonna say it like they said it, baby. You know, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna get it, because I ain't about to hold my tongue for nobody, okay? Because you're gonna have to learn to hold your tongue and hold a gun. And we all know you ain't that tight. I stopped you ain't the bitch that you act like. I started getting money, bitches upset. It reminded me of my pussy bitches mad. All right, y'all. All right, all right. At some point, hold on. At some point, you left the room, and then what happened? Demetrius, Larry Hood, they were still there. Yes. Now, at some point, when did you leave? And then she said, well, yeah, we did. But before you left, did he say anything to you? She said he asked us to come back the following day. And then they said, well, how did you come back? And she did she come back? She said every day for years. Did you get the dick for years, bitch? Or did you just tell us that you if you if you fucked him, Tiffany, the other two bitches, all you hoes was gotten. That's why I say there's some talented hoes out here, baby. There's some talented bitches and niggas out here. Scratch kills, but it's some talented motherfuckers out here. If you can fuck and be in the room and shit. Like I tried that shit. I kid you not. Let me tell you my personal experience before I get into the rest of this shit. So I was about, let me see how old I would have been. I don't know if I had to be 18 or 19. And so, yeah, let me see. I was 18, 19. Let me see, because I had my son. 19, 19. Had to be 19, 20, okay? 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? I was in them streets. I was getting money. You know what I'm saying? I'm always getting what I get because you know what I'm saying? That's just what I do. So anyway, long story short, it was this dude. He was from the city. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say his name or whatever, but he was from the city. He was from Cali. He was a city nigga. He was a boss-ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? And all the ladies wanted him. And I was just so anti-social. The same way I am today is the same way I've been my whole life. Ain't nothing changed, right? And so dude wanted to have a threesome with me and this bitch. And I'm like, I ain't never had a threesome before. And I don't think I can ever do it, even to this day. So anyway, I don't know. I sat on his face. I was sitting on his face. I was riding that face. And the girl was fucking him on the dick behind me. And I felt the head touch. Don't put your hands on me, you dirty bitch. I promise. I like to punch that bitch. I swear to God. Don't put your motherfucking hands on me, bitch. I don't know how to do no threesome. All I know is I'm riding this nigga face, bitch. You riding that dick behind me, bitch. Stay where you at. And she didn't have no condom on that dick. So he like, get up, so you could switch. I get up. His face is just all nutty buddy professor on that motherfucker. I'm putting them juices on that nigga. This pussy tsunami what I be doing what it do, right? And so he was like, switch. And I look at the dick and all I see is her nut on it. I'm not about to get on that shit. I walked right out the motherfucking room, went straight in the motherfucking bathtub, because I'm already about to beat this bitch ass for just touching my shoulder. I thought a threesome was you fuck his face, she fuck him, and you go. What ain't do that at? And if that nigga, I kid you not, to this day, if I get that nigga on my live, he will confirm this motherfucking story because he a real ass nigga, real motherfucking things. And so the nigga was like, I didn't know that's what threesome was. I thought it was I rolled his face, she rolled his dick, I go. Not fuck him after she fucked him and she sitting on his face with my juices like you's a nasty, funky, filthy bitch while I'm in the tub. And he like, come here, cause he like, feed. Don't call me, motherfucker. You better call another bitch because I'm about this motherfucker. And so, long story short, and then I left, and he was like, why you do that? Why you do that? Nigga, what you mean, nigga? The fuck? And so, to this day, that's still my homeboy or whatever. I just recently seen him probably, I don't know, 7 months ago, or whatever, earlier this year. Took some pictures with him and everything. He looks really good, you know, but life has his ways, but he's still standing. And so, but that was my personal experience, y'all. I never switched. I never got on the dick. I went from the face to the shower. I damn near punched this hoe for just touching my shirt. I'm still thinking about, like, bitch, get off of me. I feel some type of way. To this day. To this day. Okay, let's get back into it. Okay, so then that was my experience, y'all. Okay, so she said she put the condom on and she shrouded him. And then they said, so who, if anyone else, was in the room? She said Tiffany and the other ladies. And then they said he had sex with them as well. He grabbed one breast, he sucked on one titty, and he was fingering the other girl. I know I read that part already. And then it went over here. And then, okay, so at some point, did you leave? She said, yes, we did. Before you left, did he say anything? He asked us to come back the following. How often did you go? She said every day. After that, for years. Okay, and then they talked about the CO and the address where that was at. It's at the Apple Store in Chicago, downtown Chicago, where the Apple Store is at today. It's no longer the store. It's an Apple Store now, and it's somewhere on Michigan Avenue. And she said, actually, I'm wrong. It's on Ohio, right before you get to the lake. Okay. And then they said, well, who did you go with? And she said, Tiffany herself, and every day, and the others. Okay. And then she said, at some point you stopped going to to over there, right? And then she said, well, hold on, who is Tiffany? Tiffany is Tiffany Hawkins. Tiffany Hawkins, y'all. Tiffany Hawkins. I had to fall out of the bushes. I got some stories y'all ain't even knowing, y'all. I'm telling you, it's a reason I'm wired this way. It's a reason I don't fuck with motherfuckers. I don't trust people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, the shit that I did, I'm taking to the grave, man. I promise you, a lot of shit I can't even share with y'all because I had to kill y'all. No, but I'm just saying, I do dirt by myself. I don't need nobody to tell them nothing I done. No siree, Bob, okay? Breath. We ain't gonna have no filthy environments. You all said we ain't gonna fake like we some boss ass bitches and we're bums. We ain't doing to myself. Stick to my guns, and I promise you, Hollywood is building. But anyway, let's continue on. Let's continue. We're gonna have more devils falling out the trees. Don't trip. Don't trip. God don't make no mistakes, baby. What was meant for my harm is God is turning around for my good. Is it this side or is it this side? I'm just saying, I'm staying humble, but which side is it? Because God is good all the time. I keep telling y'all, don't judge. The judge is to be judged. You fuck around and having to be all up in a bitch face that you was trying to, you want to see it all the time. They want to take my place. Backstabber. Okay, anyway, come on. All right, pull me back, y'all. Pull me the fuck back. All right, let's go. Okay, so she was like, no, actually, I'm wrong. It's on Ohio, right? You get it. It's to the lake. Okay, so who did you go with? She was like, Tiffany herself. And then they asked her how often. She said every day. And then she went on to say, at some point you stopped going. She stopped going to school. And then she said, yeah, because Mr. Kelly gave her a choice, and he gave her an option, like, you want to sing or you want to go to school. So R. Kelly gave you a choice. This is side eye. Is it this side or is it this side? One of these sides, it get real, y'all. Tie facing all, y'all. Tie facing all. I'm gonna get in that shower. I promise you, if I don't do nothing else, I'm get in that shower. And I'm gonna check my phone, my card, because it's right in the front. I'm gonna see if the phone is in there. I pray to God it's in there, but you won't get it tonight. You gonna get it tomorrow. I'm tired. I'll secure it for you, nigga. I will secure it. Okay. You gotta start checking these seats before you get your ass out too. You gotta do a double back, make sure you ain't left nothing. You know, it's very important to look back and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's like taking a flight and not looking behind to see if you left something on the seat. You gotta be looking. I'm just saying, Debo, you gonna have to do better, because getting me up out this room tonight, baby, knowing it was storming and shit, I'm tired. Look at my eyes, nigga, I'm tired now. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, okay. She said R. Kelly was giving her the option to sing, and they said so. Uh, okay, so what did you choose? She said she basically she said he said you don't have time for school if you if you're you know trying to sing. So didn't she says did you ever have sex with him? And then on others or in others, and she said yes. Was it multiple times? She said yes. She said where? She said the studio, the apartment, and on the road. You was fucking R. Kelly on the road, huh? But you didn't tell this is surviving R. Kelly, right? But you just now telling this for the first time. Oh my God. People, it can, the lies, I'm just saying alleged. Let me just throw that alleged out there in case they watching. Alleged. Okay. Did, now, okay, so, there was outside, nope. Okay. When you went on multiple occasions, can you describe uh, she said a communication special. Okay, let me see. There was okay. They asked her to describe. And she talked about it had a kitchenette and a bathroom, and it had a common space. And then they said, "So you testified there was multiple." How old were you? How old were you when these alleged sex acts happened? She said probably 15, 16, 17. With R. Kelly, she said no. Said no. But you fucked this man multiple times. So did you not want to do it multiple times? I mean, make this else, and, but you didn't want to do it. Okay, moving right along. We're gonna just skip on past that like we didn't even hear that one. Now, why did you do it so many times? She said I wasn't sure if I was gonna get jumped, or who the fuck gonna jump you? I mean, I know they was getting jumped back in them days. I know bitches were getting jumped in the 90s. I know bitches was getting jumped in the 90s. And maybe that's why she said maybe she said she was getting there. She thought she was gonna get jumped because bitches was getting jumped in the 90s. That is undeniable. And maybe that would make it a little bit believable. But my question is, why somebody want to jump you over the dick? Are they jumping over the dick? Are they jumping on the dick? Are they jumping around the dick? Was they hopscotching? Like, what the fuck was they jumping you for? I just want to know. What was they jumping her for? What was they going to jump her for? Oh, my God. She said she didn't know if she wasn't for sure if she was going to get jumped on. You can't make this shit up. I promise you, I'm losing my voice, y'all. Now, why did you keep having sex with him? Because he said it was a requirement and I had to pay my dues. Now, get me some sex get okay. They said, well, did his sex get less? And then she said, yes, it did. Now, uh, she said they asked her when did it start getting less. She said 92-ish, into 93. Now, did he employ you? And she said yes. And what did he employ you as? As a dancer. When did he employ you? In 1992. How old was you? 16 years old. And what did you do? She was a backup dancer. And then they asked her about tour buses and being a backup dancer. Did he pay her? She said yes and no. It was a per diem, money for food, and the checks never cleared. They all bounced from Oak Street Bank, is what she said. I don't know these banks. I ain't from Chicago, okay? Now, Do you recognize this exhibit? She said, yes, I do. They said, who is this? She said, that's Aaliyah. Did you meet her in person? She said, yes. She said, but she's deceased now, right? And she said, yeah. Do you recall when? She said, August 25th, 2001. I could be wrong about the year. You said the exact date and year, but you could be wrong. Now, if you'd have said 2002, I would have gave you the benefit of the doubt. But you specified and you were specific. You were spot on. You said the exact date of death, which was August 25th, 2001. But you could be wrong about the year. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. Now, okay, so when did you first meet Leah? She was like January 1992. And then she said, how did you meet her? And she said, through Rob. Now, what did he say in specific about her? She was the hottest thing. And who introduced y'all? Robert did. Where? At the CRC studio. Now, Aaliyah, also her brother Rashad, that was it. This is the people that she said was there at the time. Now, any of your other friends, she said yes. Tiffany, yes. Now, Rashad, I hope I'm saying his name right. Rashad, Lord have mercy. I don't know Aaliyah's brother name. Lord forgive me. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. No offense to the family. I should know your name, but I don't. My apologies. And said, who is he? She said that was Aaliyah's older brother. Now, you testified earlier. Were you staying with anyone else? And she said, yes, ma'am. Was one Tiffany? She said, yes, ma'am. Was the other girl the third? And she said, yes, ma'am. And was there did y'all wait, she said, was there two other girls who you met? And she said, yes. Aaliyah, yes, ma'am. And I am showing you an ID, which is 964. Do you recognize this ID? She said, yes. She said, who is this? She said, that is Tiffany. And then she said, and the third, that she's showing a photo. She said, that is Tiffany, the third girl. Tiffany, the third girl, and Aaliyah. And then she said, is this your singing group? And she said, yes. And then they said, so what is the name of your singing group or dance group? And she said, singing. And then she said, oh. And then as they were showing her this, she said, what is the name of the singing or the dancing group? And then she was like singing, and then she got emotional. And then she started booing. So she started crying, basically. Now, they asked her about Tiffany, the third girl, and the member of the group and the name. And she said they were the three next generation. And then they talked about Leah and her brother Rashad. And then they said, when you were present, did he tell her he was going to be her back dancers? And you mentioned public announcements. He told her we could that basically he was going to let them be her backup dancer. And then she said this was around the time Vibe came out, which was R. Kelly's song Vibe, and we would be her friends as well, that they would be Aaliyah's friends as well. Now, when you met Aaliyah, what did he call it? And then who was there and called it? She said the second chapter. Now, did he call Aaliyah about anything else? She said it was she recalled it because it was Aaliyah's birthday. He told us how old she was going to be, and she was 12 years old. Lord have mercy. I mean, the girl was on some other. Now, did you see her again, and she said regularly and daily. Now, okay, let's see. And then they asked who would she be with, you know, and she said her mom, her dad, uh Tiffany, her first. And they said who wrote the album. She said wait, who wrote and produced her first album? And then she said R. Kelly did. And then the album called, she said age ain't nothing but a number. And they said, so where did she stay? And then she said hold on, she said she stayed occasionally with her mother and a chaperone. Oh, excuse me. Was he always around? No, he was not. um you were employed as a backup dancer. Do you recall a performance uh when they was on tour? And she said yes. She said when? She said 1993-ish. How old then? And then she said she was like maybe 17. It was between 16 and 17. And but she said you don't recall the exact date. And then she said they asked her how did she get there. She said by tour bus. Then they went on to say okay, was it more than one tour bus? And she said, yes, it was. And then they asked, do you recall? She said, you recall. And she said, yes. Then they asked her to describe it. She said, what? It was a small, like, couch, sleeping bunk, a bathroom as well. Do you recall stopping in Washington, D.C.? And how long? And then she said, yes. And she said, for a couple of days. They asked her, where did she stay? She said, at a hotel. And they said, do you recall he getting upset? She said yes. And said the reason, she said more times. I recall myself, we was having a splash party and Kel us out of the pool. Oh, because they went to a splash party, herself and Tiffany, believe it, Aaliyah. And she said they went to got us out of the pool. We were not to associate with others. And then they had an exhibit. And then she said, no, this was an objection. I apologize. There was an objection. And then he said, so, oh, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. He was always, he did that to you. Not, wait, hold on. He didn't want people, he didn't want people on the bus. Wait, he didn't want us to communicate. Congratulations on the phone. Okay, so he didn't like people looking at his girls. And they said, so he didn't like people looking at his girls. She said, that is correct. Now, the second time after he got us out of the pool, there was a public announcement. R. Kelly entered and we could go. We did. Wait. We did. Did they go out for food? All the dancers and Tiffany as well. She said, "What was Aaliyah doing? She was. It was like she was his. Oh yeah, Aaliyah was there because she said it was like he was her. She was his protege. He may be. Wait. Okay, so they had got lost and they started making a bunch of noise, and Aaliyah freaked out, saying Rob said we shouldn't have left, and then Robert told us we had to put out that night. Wait, if we she said that Robert put them out that night. If he said you had to pay your dues, then they wanted to know what that meant. It meant that they had to pay him in sets. Okay. She had been since there was any sexual intercourse, and then they asked her, did she have any sexual contact with him, and she said no. Then they said he could act and take my. He did ask take my clothes off. Did you engage? And she said, no, I did not. I said I wasn't doing it that time. And then she said, I told him I will have my mom put me on a plane faster than he could get her a commercial plane back. And then she went on, not even a commercial plane, but just another plane. And then he said, he then said he was joking when she said that to him. He started saying, I was joking. And then she said, so we were playing a prank with, they started playing a prank. And then the prank was someone else who was tossing water. And then they said, well, what did you mean? And she said, no, out of a cup or water bucket. All of the GDs and fuckery somewhere. Wait. I gotta get that right because I know I missed some stuff. Hold on, y'all. I don't get it all, but I get the best that I can get. Hold on now. So we had to open up. We had the maid open up the doors. We poured waters all over the floors. We got Rob in his what is this? His quad room. We were gonna throw water on him, and then she said, "I perceived to the man." I saw Rob and so she said she perceived to the main cabin, and then she saw R. Kelly and Aaliyah, and it looked like he was giving her oral sex. Okay, do you recall where she said like a small seating area? And then they said, how was she seated? And then she said she was seated with her she was sitting up basically, and he had his head between her legs, close to the door. And she said she pushed the other girl away, and she said, did you know prior to that moment that they were having sex? And she said no, she did not know that. Now she said, so you stopped working for him. Did you continue to work with others? And she said yes. And she said who? And then she said she was a dancer for Sparkle. Okay. um and then she asked her, did she see or encounter to see R. Kelly anymore? And then she said she did. They asked her where. She said in passing at the studio, which is strange that you claim all this happened and you continue to see this person around. But anyway, and she said she did, and said, okay, so what proof? And she said there was a photo of me at the time. What did you recall? She said, I don't recall the amount. How much? A few grand. And then she said, did you talk about Aaliyah? She said no. Did you talk about you? She said no, I did not. She said why? She said because I was in. They asked her about Surviving R. Kelly and was she participating on Surviving R. Kelly. They asked her if she got paid, and she said yeah, she had got a few grands. And then they went on to ask her, she said she got a few grands, and asked her, did she ever talk about Aaliyah? And she said no. And then they said, did you talk about you? And she said no, I did not. They asked her why. She said she was too embarrassed, and that's why she never spoke about it. And she thought to protect the people were out to get him. Okay. And then they were done with her. Then Candy got on her. He said, so back in 92, how old? She said she's roughly was 16. He asked her, who hired you? She said Rob. He said, did you have a contract? She said no. He said, did you perform a video? She said yes. He said we would so if we were to look up this video, we would find some credits. She's like, no. He said, because you didn't do it. Candy ain't playing with her. Candy is not playing with her. Sparkle had songs that needed backup dancers. Man. Okay. So he says, wait. So okay, so you testified, perhaps I didn't understand. She was like, I didn't understand. He was like, so you have any of the music were you in any of the music videos? Were you on any of the concerts? And she said no. And then he said She said the majority of his videos didn't not he did not ask of me of my something, and then it went on to say, okay, something where was you performing. She said I was a dancer in general. Let me see, let me ask you again, did you perform in an arena? Hold on, y'all, because these notes is getting shady by the second, because I am getting tired as hell. So she said that, let me see, I don't recall from 25. She said she didn't recall from 25 years ago. He said the shy tribute, she said, I'm sure you were excited. I do apologize. What kind? She said, I do apologize. He said, what kind in DC? She said, we did several. What shows did you do? She said, we did several shows. Even in high school, we performed. Also in arenas, high schools, and gyms. He said, did you perform in a nightclub? She said, no. He said, do you recall performing in an arena? And she said, I remember the Ohio State Fair. And he said, you were 15 or 16. There was arrangements. You do know Aaliyah could not perform because Aaliyah could not perform because of her age. She said, I did not know. I do not. And he said, so are you aware that she said, I would not be aware of that, sir. And he said, well, when did you hire a lawyer? And she said, last year, sir. Now, when did you ever, were you in Surviving R. Kelly? No, when did you appear in Surviving R. Kelly? And she was like, 2018. Now, you were paid money. You didn't tell anyone you ever had any I want to say sex. And she said no with R. Kelly. She said no. And then he was done. And then there was the cross. Wait, let me see, is it still him? Have you been asked in others? Yes, I have. How did you respond? And they said sidebar. Now, he couldn't ask these questions because there was objections. So if I'm not, there was objections, and then they had a sidebar. Okay, after the sidebar, he said, okay, so when asked about what happened, there was things not to. Okay, they asked her what happened with Surviving R. Kelly. She said there was things that she chose not to respond to, and then Kanik said he had no further questions. And that pretty much was done with her. To be honest with you, that was it. That was all I got. If there was more, I missed it. But trust me, I was in that courtroom. I didn't hear nothing else. That was it. Now, the government called John Doe number 2. Oh, shit. John Doe number 2. They're calling him Alex. And let me just tell y'all, for y'all that may try to put these pieces of the puzzle together, would you believe that John Doe number 2 is AKA nephew? Can y'all imagine that? John Doe, imagine that. Mm, 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 So John Doe is AKA nephew. All along we've been hearing about nephew this, and nephew that. Can you believe nephew is John Doe number 2? My goodness, y'all. So before I get any further into this commentary, at least let me read some of y'all comments so I can make sure I don't miss something where I could have asked y'all while I was on this live. I want to take maybe 3 minutes to spend this time with y'all. But nephew is AKA John Doe, which is John Doe number 1 former best friend. They're not friends anymore, but they are used to be best friends. So we know John Doe number 1 is who? Richard Arline. And we know John Doe number 2, I don't know his name. You would have to go to Tasha K's channel, and she posted both their pictures up there. So if you go over there to her channel, you can see both the pictures of John Doe 1 and John Doe 2. And then you can see John Doe 1 and John Doe 2. And you'll also be able to see and hear what their names are and you can hear what she had a conversation with John Doe number one, and how he was denying that he was John Doe number one, and turned out he actually is John Doe number one. Okay, because I was here in the courtroom, I seen the picture for myself. I know what he looked like. The same pictures Tasha K got is the exact same pictures that John Doe 1 and 2 is. So you just gotta go over there and check it out. I don't know the video. If I find it, maybe I'll put the link in the chat somewhere in the description, and it'll send you right over there to it, and I'll give you the minute mark. But don't wait for me to do it tonight, because the sister's tired, and I'm really trying to get through this content, because I'm not trying to have this backed up on me. Come every one of you guys that's hanging in there with me. Every last one of y'all, you guys are much appreciated, always appreciated, and I'm gonna always show y'all love. Okay, so so let me just see. Black women are strong and don't play victim like this. If they were used and abused like this, if Black women feel violated, they will take the proper procedures. Not 10 plus years. Thank you. You for that comment. Somebody said, Blessing said, keep doing a great job, darling. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, thank you. Yaya says, all that for a couple of grand. She must come from no money. I'm just saying, what is it to gain the world and lose your soul? Shout out to Yaya, aka Yay, because that's my boo right there. That's my motherfucking sissy boo, and she gonna speak that truth, because over here we keep it real. We say what we mean, and we mean what we say, and what we do, we keep it real all day, every day. Some like us, some hate us, but hey, it is just, we still keep on keeping on. You know what I'm saying? One monkey don't stop that show. You know what I'm saying? I'm encouraging y'all, please go listen to TD Jakes. Now, if y'all want me to play TD Jakes for y'all this coming Saturday time, I know I'll be in Texas, so I may not have the time or whatever, but I want to sit down and break down the sermon to y'all, especially for the believers, you know. And even if you're a non-believer, you can come and get the word too, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always trying to spread that positivity. I'm just trying to expand the brain, expand the horizons, you know what I'm saying? Level up or whatever. But anyway, let's get into Alex, government witness John Doe number 2. Now, they showed him an exhibit, which was 68. Wait, hold on. Before I go there, iPad lied, age lied, thief, testimony. This nigga is P. Boy Bryson, right? Okay, so John Doe stepped back because he knew he was going to jail, right? Exactly. And John Doe number 2, yes, that's nephew, y'all. So I've been trying to figure out who is nephew, Everybody talking about I fucked nephew and he brought nephew in and I fucked nephew. Okay, well, who is nephew? Nephew happens to be John Doe number 2, y'all. Oh my God. Yes. The velvet. Yes. Oh, you saw it? The velvet gloves and the iron fist. Oh my God. Shout out to Blessing. You, he was preaching. We can have that good velvet outside. Tell you, y'all got to go over there and get a good word, man. I'm gonna start mixing up some stuff in between so y'all can get that blessing, because I'm telling you, if God can do it for me, he can do it for you. If he save a wretch like me, and don't matter where you come from or whatever you may be going through, God has something for each and every one of us. I promise you, he do. All right, let's finish though. Okay, so Alex, government witness, John Doe number 2. Now 68. Who is this? He said, that's myself. Okay, witness only 68A, same photo with true name. Yes. For today only, we're going to refer to you as Alex. He says, okay, now this is the real name. We're going to publish it to the jury only. Then they said, so how old are you? He said he is 31 years old. I asked him when his birthday was. He said 2/13/1990. He asked him where he grew up at. He grew up in the south suburb, Hazel Crest. What school he went to. He said Hillcrest High School. Did he graduate 2008? He had some college as well. They said, did you work? He said yes. He said after high school, where? He said at McDonald's. What city and state? He said Markham, Illinois. He's currently he also is self-employed. He has a clothing line, which is his personal business. Okay. And then it went on to say, so who is this person? He said that is R. Kelly. He said, do you see him in the courtroom today? He said, yes. Oh, this is exhibit 1, by the way. He said, this is R. Kelly. And then he said, hold on, let me put this up for y'all so y'all can be able to see everything. And thank you all again for hanging in there with me tonight, getting this information out to you guys, along with the funnies and the jokes along the way. Tomorrow will be a better day because I won't be so tired. I'm glad I can sleep in. Oh, it's almost 1 o'clock. That means I'm only gonna get 7, 8 hours. I can get 8 hours in and still get there on time. Okay, we're gonna work it out. Now, okay, so he said, so do you see him today? He said yes. He said, can you describe what he has on? He said he has on a gray jacket, and then he said something white or whatever, but he had on like brown too though. But anyway, so what stage? He said when you met him, he said he was a teenager in high school. He said so when I met him, I was a junior. And then he said, when you last saw R. Kelly was when? He said 2019. He said, where were you? He said, when you first met him, he said, at a party. He said, did you go multiple times? He said, yes. He said, do you recognize this person? He said, yes. He said, do you recognize this photo? He said, yes. He said, what is it? He said, this is the gate that to enter into the estate at the Olympic Fields. And then he said, um, now parties, how many parties did you attend? And he said he attended 9 parties. He said, without saying names, who is this person? And then he identified him as his former best friend at the time. And then his government witness 64A showing the jury only, full name with name under correct. And then he said, just for now, they're going to show this photo. And who is this? He said, this is Lewis, his former best friend, aka Richard R. Lyne. Okay. Now, where did you met at a party? Yes. Lewis, his best friend, took him. He said yes. He said they lived in the same neighborhood. Yes. They went to the same high school. Yes. Richard R. Is he said while he was a junior, Richard was a senior. And then he asked how did he meet Gil about going to meet R. Kelly. He said his best friend at the time, Richard Lewis, Lewis invited him. Okay. Now, where did Lewis work? He said at McDonald's. Where? In Markham, Illinois. How did Lewis meet R. Kelly? He said at McDonald's in Markham, Illinois. Now, do you recognize this? He said yes. He said, what is this? He said, that's a picture of McDonald's. He said, so is that the one where Lewis worked at? He said, correct. Now, you first met at a party in high school. Do you recall when? He said 2007, around January-ish. He said, so your birthday is in February, correct? That's correct. Now, do you recall how you got there? He said, my best friend at the time, they went to the Holiday Inn, and then they took a shuttle. The shuttle would take us to the residence. And then he said, so after you got there, what happened? He said, well, it was a live party. Like the party was lit. It's a chaos party. What you thought? You feel me? And he was like, so did you go through security? He said, yes. He said, what was going on? He said, well, they were over there signing waivers and NDAs and showing their IDs. He said they asked him about what's once you was at the party, like what happened. And he said, well, it was the people, they was dancing, alcohol being served. He said yes. They asked him what was the majority like. He said it was 98% women and 2% men. It's a lot of bitches in that motherfucker, all funky ass hoes. I'm just saying, oh, funky cock bitches, 98%. Like, come on, where's the balance at? Where the fuck is the balance at? Like, I don't fucking. This shit got me tight. All right. Okay, so ever meet R. Kelly at the party? Said yes. He said how? He said his former best friend Lewis, aka Richard, introduced me very brief. Party you attended others? And then he said yeah. And then he said they asked which ones. He said there was an album release party, there was birthday parties, there was R. Kelly birthday party, and they said double up release. And they asked him when was it? He said the spring of 2007. He said, was you still a junior? And he said yes. And he said it was kind of like that. Okay. Now, you spoke to R. Kelly. Yes. What happened? He said he slipped me his number. He said they asked him how. He said it was a balled up piece of said, did you look at it? He said, yeah. They said, well, what was on it? He said, no. They said, how was it written? He said, it was handwritten. And he said, well, did you have a cell phone at the time? He said, yes, I did. Your name on it? He said, no, my brother-in-law name was on it. And then they put an exhibit. Do you recognize this? He said, yes. He said, what is it? He said, that's my brother-in-law. And he said, then they said to go ahead and publish it. And then they said to the jury only. He went on to say, so when you was in high school, was your brother and your sister, your brother-in-law and your sister married already? He said, yes. Now, did your sister or your brother know R. Kelly personally? And they said, objection. He said, overruled. Well, the judge said, overruled. And then he said, no. And he said, so at the end of the junior year, how did you feel? Pretty good, getting a number from a celebrity. So after you get the number, then what happened? He said, well, he just, what happened then? He said, well, he in contact through text. He checked up on me and I would check up on him. Uh-oh. Now, after seeing him at parties, were there other times where you saw him? He said, yes. When he said he was living at Olympia Field, and then it was at the residence. They were playing ball. Do you mean basketball? He said, yeah. So where? Markham, Illinois. Did you attend the games? Correct. How far was it from the basketball to the Olympic Fields? It was no less than 17 minutes. Now, is that by driving? Yes. So the government is going to present A, B, and C. Do you recognize this? Yes. What is this? That's the Recreation Center in Markham, Illinois. How many times have you been there? 2 or 3 times. Did you play ball? Not there. At a different location? Yes. Now, he used to play at a place in Chicago at a church, a basketball court there. Yes. How many times? Multiple times. Multiple times. He said, yes. Did you play with him there? Yes. How did you learn about the games? He said, my best friend at the time, pretty much, we were like rebounds, he let me shoot and we called it Kelly ball. Now, what other types of people you would see? He says hoopers, his lady friends, other players, his lady friends, they're definitely, yes. Now, where would they be? He said, apart from everyone else. Was it at least men? And he said, yes. Now, in early days, basketball games, pictures, did you meet any of the other associates? And he said, yes. Did you, wait. Did you record? Wait, did he record him? He said, yes. No. He said, I'm sorry. Do you recognize this person in the exhibit? He said, yes. He said, who is this? He said, that's Junebug. He said, well, do you know what Junebug does? He said, yes, this is personal assistant, his right-hand guy. Different matters. He handled different matters. They said, do you recognize this one? He said, yes. Who is that? He said, Tom. I think not for sure, but he was an assistant for Mr. Kelly. Now, do you recognize this person? Yeah, they called him Baldy. He's a longtime friend, an entourage of Mr. Kelly. And then they put an exhibit up, said, do you know him? He said, I do, but I don't recall his name. And who, and long and behold, that was Bubba. He didn't recall Bubba. He didn't want to recall Bubba, but it was Bubba. Okay. Now, Exhibit 22. I believe she did security for Mr. Kelly. Her name, I think it's Cookie, but I believe her name was Candy. But I'm just saying he said Cookie, so we're gonna go with what was said and not what I'm saying. Now he said, I don't know for sure. Now, did Kels ask you to come when it wasn't for parties? He said he wanted to see me to come on by. Now, what happened? He said, well, he opened up the gates for me. He told me to he waited inside. He told me to wait inside of the Maybach. Now, he told me to wait. And they said, how long? He said, about 20 minutes. He said, what happened next? He said, well, I believe he texted and said, wait inside, and said, how long? He said, roughly 20 minutes. They asked me 20 minutes. Make sure I'm not reading that twice. Okay, turn the page. Now, Kels came and got inside of the Maybach. Then they forcefully kissed me. forcefully. I got to do some. I got to get animated. I'm sorry. I got to do this one time. I have to do this for the people. If I don't do it for nobody else, this is for the people. This is all I want to say right here. This part right here. R. Kelly forcefully uh, forced it. This. I just have to play this part. Answers. Now listen to me, little bitch. Ask you some real simple questions, and I want some real simple answers. You understand? R. Kelly forcefully kissed you, right? At what time? About 11:15. I bought the beer and I accidentally dropped it. You bought the bottle of beer at 11:15. You know you done fucked up, right? Then why wasn't the bottle cleaned up? Why did we find it still there, spilled on the floor after the shoot? This how these dummies is on the stand. I promise y'all. After I left, other people was coming in. When we was leaving. But you don't remember what they the bottle of beer, definitely at 12:15. Yeah, it was 12:15 exactly. If I'm not mistaken. Now you see something. You know you done fucked up, right? Now you see now. You done fucked up. You know that. I said, I thought. No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now. You know that. Okay. Y'all, let me grab me something else to drink. Because I gotta stay hydrated. This is my time. This is my hours to eat, drink, and do all I can, y'all. It's getting real. Okay, I'm drinking another Izzy. This one is apple, okay? Oh my God. So he said, R. Kelly forcefully kissed in my face. They asked him how did he said shocked and numb and didn't know what to do. What he say, just be open-minded. Next, I went home. Did he stop? Did he make sex advances? No. And then he said, what others, if you remember, he told me to take off my pants. No, he asked, wait, did he stop making sex? Did he sex advances? He said, no. What others, if you remember, he told me to take off my pants. And he gave me oral sex. This is some dirty game. It's a dirty game. I'm gonna have to go back. Let me go back. Hold on. A couple of notches. Yeah, it was 12:15. It was 12:15. If you're not mistaken. See now, you done fucked up. You know that, don't you? I thought that's something. You know what I'm saying? You done fucked up now. You know that, don't you? Okay. Let's finish this shit. I had to throw the animators in there. Okay, I had to throw that in there. Now he said he told me take my pants off, and he gave me oral sex, And they said, where did this happen at? He said, in Olympia Field. They said, where? He said, inside the particular time. He said, where? Inside. He said, now that particular time, no, it was in a room upstairs. Do you recall? He said it was recorded. He said yes. He said, how was he recorded? He said on the iPad. He said, who recorded? He said, Mr. Kelly. He said, who set up the recording? He said, Mr. Kelly did, y'all. Mr. Kelly set up the damn recording. Lord, he know he done fucked up, right? He know he done fucked up. Okay, y'all. He said, so at some point, did you have sex with R. Kelly and others? He said yes. He said so. He said he had a gift. He said, well, they asked him what happened in the next incident. He said, well, R. Kelly told him he had a gift for him and to come by to the Olympics field. He said, what? He said, what? He said, wait in a room upstairs. And he said, I believe it was one of the kids' room. He said, he sent a half naked lady into the room. He said, did you know her? He said, before. He said, no, he did not. He said, prior, did you ask for a woman? He said, no, he did not. He said, so what happened after? He said, well, he told us to go. He told us to go at it, and we did. And we didn't know what to do. He told us to kiss each other and mean it. He said, what did you notice? He said, well, there was an iPad and he was recording it. He said, well, after what happened, he said he was telling us to kiss and mean it. He said he started recording and masturbating. I'm sorry I got to tell this to y'all, but I got to give y'all everything that I got in that courtroom. I got to get it out of my head. I got to get it out of my eyes. I got to get it out of my mouth. I got to get it off this paper. I got to get it off this paper. I have to read these notes to you people. You see this stuff? I have to read this to y'all. I can't keep this to myself. It's way too thick. It's too thick. But I'm going to need y'all to hit the cash out, because what y'all getting over here, you can't get nowhere. And I ain't doing none of that, but I'm just saying, y'all getting some information that you can't get this nowhere else. The mainstream ain't about to get this to y'all. So just look out for your girl. Do what you can. Continue to bless me so I can continue to stay here in New York and be able to, get more information for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what the future holds. You know what I'm saying? But you know me, one thing for sure, I'm a boss ass chick all by myself. I came in this fight by myself, and I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do, regardless of who want me or don't want me. At the end of the day, I'm gonna proceed, because this and I perceive, I'm persevere. I'm a go-getter, certified, bona-fide, baby. I ain't never had a problem staying up all night and doing what I had to do to make sure. That's just point blank, period. You feel me? Without throwing shade and shots. Take it how you want to take it, because I am who I am, and ain't nobody gonna take that from me. So with that being said, each other and mean it. What did you notice? He said iPads was recording. After telling us to kiss each other and mean it, he started recording and masturbating. Her before she gave us a blowjob. They said, what do you mean by blowjob? Oral sex. Who said to give a blowjob? R. Kelly did. Who said to give R. Kelly oral? R. Kelly. Now, after the oral sex, what was to what was to do? He said, after everything I had her. Did you do her vaginally? Yes. During this encounter, why did you do it? No, during this told you to do this encounter. He said, Kel. Now, why did you do it? He said, I don't have no idea. He don't know why he did it. Wait a minute. Is this a real situation, or is this some Hollywood scandal type shit? I'm just trying to understand. Is this for real? Like, my goodness, I got better road than this. Anyway, allegedly, after the encounter you described, Were there other sex encounters? He said yes. He said they said where no, they said where just you and R. Kelly? Yes. Were there other sexual encounters where it was just you and R. Kelly? He said yes. Now, when you had sex with R. Kelly, troll, he said R. Kelly was. Now you know he done fucked up, right? He know he done fucked up again with this shit. But anyway, what did you do? He said I gave R. Kelly oral sex. Mm, 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 Now, how was it recorded? He said on an iPad. Where did it take place? He said at his residence, his studio, on a tour bus, and shit. Even Olympia Fields and the Trump Towers. He was saying everywhere. It was just fucking everywhere. Like this man is just a fucking fuck. I know somebody out there that like to fuck like this, but I don't know about no R. Kelly. But I've met a fucking nigga who is a damn nympho. And if you're not a nympho, you shouldn't fuck a nympho, because the nympho don't have no type of chill button. They don't know when to stop fucking. They just want to fuck breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks in between, all in between, and just all the time for no motherfucking reason. Ain't that much fucking in the world, okay? You gonna put a chill on your dick, nigga, and sit that motherfucker on some damn ice and go sit your old ass down somewhere trying to fuck that much, okay? Some dumb shit going on out here in these streets. I'm telling you, I didn't mess up a motherfucker, and I promise you, my right hand of God is my witness. I met a nympho, and I'm not a nympho, and we don't get along at all. You ain't fit to run this pussy up, motherfucker. You better go find you a young dumb hoe and get a legal bitch and see if she would like to be a nympho and fuck. Because baby, I got to work, eat, and sleep. Because if I don't work, I don't eat. If I don't grind, I don't shine, motherfucker. And you ain't about to take my shine for me and make me like a dull bronze penny, all because you want to take my motherfucking platinum away. These niggas is nasty out here. I'm telling you, bitches better be more careful. I'm trying to tell you what I know. Anyway, studio on Ohio and Justine. Now, what is this? He said, "Oh, that's the studio on Justine. What would he tell you to call him?" R. Kelly got this nigga saying daddy. What the fuck is going on between the sheets in my home, baby? Wait, let me say before he's about to point your cane. Oh, I'm about to have a fit. It's about to be some shit. How did I get into this? Should never crawl home this nigga and this bitch. You low down dirty one, man. Back to where you coming from. Well, baby, wait my ass. Hit the streets. Your ass is great. You miss some shopping sprees, don't you? Objection. I rest the case. I'll be dirty if I ended my life on y'all like that tonight. How much time I been in this mode? I ain't trying to do no hella long ass lies and shit. So let me hurry up and try to run through this right fast. Let me see how much. Ooh, Lord, how much more we got left. Ooh, Lord. Oh my God. If I get up early, I might bring Luzette all in one. I'm gonna just try to get y'all through this John Doe motherfucker, because he's a fool, y'all. Shout out to everybody in my motherfucking chat, because we the fucking littest over here. If you ain't like, share, subscribe this motherfucker, you ain't at the right platform, you at the fake one. You better come over here and make it with us, baby, because we go all the way up. Nothing can stop us. We all the way up. Shout out to all you supporters. We up. Anyway, let's go. So 503A, what is this? This is what he tell you to call him. He would tell me to call him daddy. Where? On the tour bus? Where? Back tour bus? Yes. Was it parked? Yes. Where? Downtown Chicago. Now, after the first encounter and other females, how many times you recall? List times. Yeah. Let me see what that booty hole looking like. Let me see what the ass looking like. That motherfucker rip. I know that nigga wearing diapers. He might as well went to jail in that motherfucker. I'll tell you, silly ain't even the beginning, baby. I'm silly Billy tonight, baby. I promise you I am. All right, let's try to get through this shit. Oh, shit. Try to get through this shit. Damn. It's a whole lot of shit coming between us, y'all. It's a lot of shit. Now, let me see, where was I at? He said countless times. Now, who was in charge? R. Kelly. What did he ask you? What did he ask of you? He said, put it in my mouth. Wait, put my mouth on. They said, what did he ask you? He said, I remember put their mouth on me and kissing. Now, what part of the body? My genital area. Now, what motherfucker say genital area? That's how you know a motherfucker was coherent. Saying you ain't thinking to say no genital area. You're not thinking to say no genital area. Your mind is on my dick, my nuts. I mean, what niggas say these days? I ain't never heard a nigga in the hood say my genital area. Anyway, what part of the body? My genital. Now, while this was going on, where was what was R. Kelly doing? He said R. Kelly was masturbating because, matter of fact, this is when he said that, what was he asking the girls to do? He said he wanted them to put their mouth on him and kissing him. And they said, what part? He said his genital area. He said, now why, while this was going on, where was R. Kelly? What was R. Kelly doing? He said R. Kelly was masturbating. Ooh. Put it on his genital. Put it on his genital. On the genital? Put it on the genital. Okay. Now, did he record them? Yes. How? By iPad. Sex? Yes. Okay. What did he call you? What did R. Kelly call you? He called me nephew. That boom! We got nephew, y'all. Nephew is AKA John Doe number motherfucking 2. Found nephew, y'all. I was wondering, who is nephew? What the fuck? I don't get it. Who's nephew? Nephew John Doe 2. Now, are you related to R. Kelly? He said no. Did you know any of their names? He said no. He said, so what locations do you recall engaging? He said his residence, his studio, the Trump Tower, his estates. Now, do you recall in a hotel? Yes. Any rules were there? He said we was not allowed to talk to each other. Who? His lady and his female, and or myself. Now, okay, I read that one. Wait. Oh, no, I didn't. Did you engage in more? He said yes. All in his presence. He said correct. Was the sexual encounters in R. Kelly's presence? He said correct. Do you recall when they looked like what they looked? It's fair to say you don't recall what they all look like. And he said yes. Now we're going to present some exhibits. 69B. Who is this? That's Dominique, one of the first ones to have multiple sex with. Did you know her name? He said no, but it was just confirmed. Dominique and John Doe 1, Richard Arline, worked together at McDonald's and knew each other. So how is it that they know each other, but you don't know her? But I'm just saying. Okay. Now, Dominique, one of the first ones, multiple times. Did you know her name? No. What sexual acts? Sexual, phone kissing, she giving me orally. Did R. Kelly engage? Yes, he did. Now, was there recall how? Yes. How? On an iPad. Now, who any was recording? R. Kelly. He told him what to do. Did R. Kelly tell you what to do? Now, exhibit 69. Who told Dominique what to do? R. Kelly. Here's another exhibit, 65. This is Jane. Jane is AKA Azriel. Okay. Correct. directed you to engage in sex acts with, correct? Yes. Once or more than once? More than once. At the time, did you know her name? No. Now engage in sex, including penetration, on sexual and intercourse during he said yes, during the encounters. Who directed and what should be done? He said R. Kelly did. Now, who directed what to do? R. Kelly. Was it recorded? Yes, it was. Was you told to do the same acts? Yes. For all they was recorded? Yes, 100%. All on iPad? Yes. Here's Exhibit 78. Do you recognize this person? Yes, I do. Who is this person? That's Joycelyn Savage. Now, did you engage in sexual acts with her? Yes. How many times? More than once? Yes. Once or more than once? More than once. Government Exhibit 78. Do you recognize this person? Now he got amnesia. Kind of, sort of, not really. She looks familiar. Where she looks familiar from? One time in Miami. Now, what happened in Miami? There was sexual intercourse. Was there a female in Miami you engaged in? Yes. Was it recorded? Yes, it was. At the times of these acts, you didn't know these female names? Correct. During the encounters, what do you know about all of or some of them? He said they looked zombie-ish. They were zombie-ish. That's his word. They were zombie-ish. Now, apart from sex acts, what would he tell you? Can you rephrase it? He said he would tell you what to do. Have sex or oral. Did he say other things? Yes. Kiss, kiss it like you mean it. Other things, he would tell us to moan like you mean it. To the first sex encounter, a female brought into the room. You remember anything he said? Yep, lights, iPads, just the recording that I mentioned. On a tripod. Now, did he give you did he did he speak on he would do you what he would do? He said, did he speak on, no, did he give, he said a few dollars, and they said how? He said he would slap 100 or two in my hand, and then the high five is like boom boom boom, it's some money in that motherfucker. 100 or $200. Okay. Now, 2 times in Atlanta. One time he said they had sex. 2 times in Miami. And then he said back in 2014, approximately 2017, they said, who paid for this? Did you stay at a hotel? He said yes. He said, who made the arrangements? And he said Diana Copeland. Now, was this strictly, how did you communicate? He said strictly through text. Have you ever met Diana? He said no. Now, when traveling, was it strictly for sex? He said yes. How about with others? Yes. Females? Yes. Did he ever invite you to concerts? He said no. Did he take you out in public? He said no. Did you go to parties and studios? He said yes. What kind? He said regular Friday, Saturday night parties. Now, you recall you recall what? To CK, correct? Okay, wait. Okay, so was his stylist. If anyone, he said R. Kelly told him to say that he was his stylist. Now, if anyone asks, just Hey, you're my stylist. Did you do it? And he said, wait, did you distract yourself? He said, feeling use okay, so he said, so when you distance yourself from our, he distanced himself because he said he felt used and abused, emotions, so many reasons. He said, do you recall 2016 and half of 2017? Now, did he distance himself? He said no. He said, what happened? He said, my best friend reached out and to try to get me to talk with R. Kelly. Now, R. Kelly would reach out to Lewis and tell Lewis to tell him to call me. That's what R. Kelly would do. Now, you ever stole from R. Kelly? He said yes. He said, what did you steal? He said cash. They said how much? He said $8,000. He stole 8 grand from R. Kelly. And he said, where did you steal it from? He said, from his backpack. And then they said, what happened? He said, well, I went to get me the iPad. And they said, do you recall what the backpack looked like? He said it was a designer backpack, a Gucci. And he said, then he said, in high school, did he look out for him all of the time? He would get me a job. This is what he claimed that R. Kelly said. R. Kelly said that he would get him a job all the time. This is what he was telling him, or he would have him be. Now, was that before or after the sexual contact? He said both. Now, did it ever happen, him getting you those positions? He said no. Were you arrested? He said yes. And they said, for what? He said robbery, but attempted theft. Now, he said, they asked, did he spend some time in jail? He said yes. How much time? He spent 4 months. He said, who posted his bail? He said his mother did. He said he learned that R. Kelly gave his best friend some money, but that his mom never received that money. Then he said, well, how did you learn that the defendant gave you some money? He said, because my best friend told me and R. Kelly told me. Now, did you stop talking to Lewis? He said yes. Did you ever talk to Lewis again? He said yes. Did you see him during surviving R. Kelly? Did you see him during surviving R. Kelly? He said yes. He said, where did you see him? He said, where I seen him. He said he needed to do something. If he needed to do, did you? Yes. He said, I got there, and he said he needed me to write something for him to pretty much say I didn't have no sex. He told me what to write word from word. After writing what he said, did you give it to him? He said the false letter you wrote. He said yes. Why did you write this letter? He said just for R. Kelly. Did he get it said, did you get a subpoena to be here today? And he said yes, he did. He said, do you want? And at that point, they rested their case. Now, Canic time. Y'all ready for Canic? Because this is it. After Canic, I got left, y'all. Let's see how much time I got left on Canic's Cross. Because Lord knows it's 1:30 in the morning. I gotta get some sleep. I'm so tired. I don't want to do. Okay, it's not that bad. It's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8, 9 pages. Come on, Lord, help me, Father God, push me through, y'all. I'll give y'all Lizette Mayweather tomorrow, because right now she just started her cross. Is only 20 minutes in. Don't make no sense to try to stay here, y'all. You testified about Robert in 2012. You was arrested with Lewis. You robbed someone, didn't you? He said, not someone, but a business. Now, how old were you? He said, probably 22. Now, Rob didn't excuse me, Rob didn't ask you to do that, did he? He said, correct. Lewis told me I did it as a favor for Lewis because he took some pulley. And how did you feel? How did you get the key? And he said, "Look, get inside." Y'all see where he's going with this, right? Lewis is the culprit. You work that he worked for. Lewis stole from Mr. Kelly. Yes, yes. He stole a camera. He stole the bail money too. Yes. Would you call him a thief yourself? A thief? He said, you said you got his number in junior high school. You're correct. He said, when you met him, how old were you when you met him? And he said 17. So you said about that. You told the government that you got the number when you was 19 in 2009. He said, that's false. He said, it didn't happen. What the government mean. He said, no, I didn't get his number in 2009. He said, the mechanic said, look at the document without looking at it, not state. He said, not looking at it, not statements. The bottom highlighted. You read it, correct? Does it refresh in your recollection? You told the government, no, I didn't get it. Why it says that? It says you got it in 2009. You interviewed with the government. You're the one who got you're the only one you're the one who got. You said happened. How old were you? 20 years old. I was at least 20 years old. You testified that R. Kelly directed you to be involved with sex with females. How old were you? He said he was 20 years old. You said at Mr. Kelly's direction, you said at Mr. Kelly's direction, you to have sex, that he directed you to have sex. Did you have sex? Did you use a condom? Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. You said he had you with other females, not most, less times without a condom. Did you ever work for R. Kelly? Never, no. Did you ever iron his clothes? No. Oh my God, this is the juicy part, y'all. I'm about to pass out on a natural. You distanced yourself. Yes, you did that of your own choosing, correct? Trying to find a document, that's fudge. You weren't paid to be his shopper one time. I shopped for him. He said you weren't paid to be his shopper one time. I shopped. Did you tell the government Miss Kelly paid you to? Those were the things you told the government. Mr. Kelly wasn't there. Was this interview done with agents, not marshals, federal lawyers, correct? You gave them information. Isn't it a fact you told them that during 2012, 2014, that R. Kelly paid you to be his wardrobe and concert? I did. You lied to the federal agents. I'm telling you, there, Mr. Kelly wasn't there when you told them. You told them well, when you're brainwashed for so long, cracking the fuck up. So now you're brainwashed. He's so low. Laugh out loud. I don't know what time. I'm done. Laugh out loud. Redirect? Yes. And then that was a redirect. So the first time you met with the agents, yes, you had no idea how they found you, correct? You told them the things that Kels told you. Yes. One thing they gave me for when they came, they introduced agents. Oh, wait. That was wait. That was it, because she just wanted to go over that. So you told them the things that Kels told you, and he said, yeah. And then he said the prosecutor said they were done. And then Candy got back up there because he said, do you want to cross it down? He said, yeah, just one more thing. Well, maybe I got 4 more things to say. Then he said, well, when they came, when the federal agents came and they introduced themselves as federal agents of Homeland Security, you understand you were told giving a false statement was a crime? No, objection. This nigga objected himself, y'all. He didn't want to answer no more questions. He didn't want to answer no more questions. The dude didn't want to answer no more questions. That motherfucker objected himself, y'all. I ain't never, ever seen a motherfucking federal witness or government, whatever, object themselves. But that was my time, y'all. I love you guys. Thank y'all for sticking it out with me. Let me get in the shower so I can at least freshen up and do it all over again in the morning. I will be back with the full exclusive live direct from the courtroom lunchtime live. We back on tomorrow lunchtime live, bringing that information to you guys twice a day like I've been doing. So we get lunchtime tomorrow. The reason we didn't have lunchtime today is because we started at lunchtime. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe together to the puzzle one piece at a time. I'm your host with the sexy neck, sexy pieces, bringing it to you again live and direct from New York City, the federal courthouse in Brooklyn. Shout out to New York. Shout out to the Shy. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for supporting me. Thank y'all for believing in me. That I'm going to continue to bring it to you guys. Always giving it my best. I took these notes so that I was focused. Nothing's distracting me and lift me up higher. With that being said, don't forget, dear friends, let us love one another. For love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever, because God is love. And let's get up out of here with some Kels. It is not supposed to be this way. Free R. Kelly is what the fuck we over here yelling. Team next, team pieces. You know how we. Y'all, I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Pieces. Mwah. And don't forget to hit that cash app. $sign Hollywood next, baby. It's all appreciated. Going to the right place for the right reason.
Red's not supposed to be green. Like, face not supposed to be seen. The sky's not supposed to touch the ground. And a square's not supposed to be round. The moon's not supposed to touch the sun. And a 2 is not supposed to be a 1. And the heart's not supposed to weigh a ton. And forever's not supposed to be done. Winter's not supposed to come in June. And I am not supposed to have the blues. There are so many things that are not supposed to be, babe, except you and me. There are so many things that I'm not supposed to be. Ooh, baby, yeah, except you and me. Night's not supposed to be long. Yeah. No one is supposed to be alone. Understanding is not supposed to be confused. And the wind is not supposed to lose. Like fire's not supposed to freeze. Like joy is not supposed to grieve. Like you are not supposed to leave. What I said I'm not supposed to mean. He is not supposed to have your heart. Baby, we are not supposed to be apart. There are so many things that are not supposed to be said. You and me. There are so many things that are not supposed to be. Hey, baby. It seems just like no seasons changing. Oh, this earth with no creation. Oh, heart, no feelings. Or a sickness without healing. Just
All right now, Sonya Erica Boo. He says, I love y'all. See you guys on the next one. Free R. Kelly. That's what we over here yelling. Shout out to Mechanic in the 2021